three of you guys, but I don't know where I am.
You want to be on the podcast? We need a new Jim. He's never on.
All right, yeah, I'll be the new Jim.
Okay, I'm in. I'll setting you up. You have to wear tank tops. He works out every day.
I'm cutting you guys off right now. I'm cutting you guys off right now from that.
Oh shit.
Nope.
All right,
nope.
Jim, what are you doing right now?
Oh wait, so I was just on with Meef a little bit ago. So
where's Meatloaf? Meatloaf is supposed to be in this. Hey, by the way, we're live. We're on the air.
Oh, hey.
Welcome to another edition of Mass Mats and Man. I am your host, the Outlaw LA Red. You can find me on Twitter at JustinHarvey75. You can find the entire show on the Twit machine and across all social media these days at MMMshow75. Thanks to Byron and his tireless efforts of social media presence and awareness.
Before the border.
What up?
What's going on?
At Byron Fever.
Jim just called into the show, but what the hell are you doing?
So I'm in the middle of practicing for a beer pong tournament, an industry beer pong tournament next week. Yeah. If you guys want to come out and support Jimsuke Natamura in Silver Lake next week at Busby's East, here. I will be
Silver Lake. That's so trendy.
And he will be.
It's not Silver Lake.
And Ron will be.
It's Miracle Mile District.
Yeah, whatever.
Thank you. Good clarification. For those of you who don't know Ron was the honorary MMMshow member on our special Lucha adventure this year. So you'll see lots of amazing photos. But Ron picked basically the best day to join the MMMshow of all time.
Yeah, he got in and he got out at the right time. Miracle Mile. Silver Lake is super trendy and hipster, but Miracle Mile is a great place to go if you want your car stolen.
Or if you just want to get shit stolen, you go to the temple and leave your windows down halfway and leave a purse there.
Don't talk about the hood that way. That's my hood, man.
Yeah, give away all the secrets. How you gotta make your money there, stealing people's stuff out of their cars.
All amazing things.
Don't talk shit about the hood, man.
I mean, Byron was there when people got their shit stolen, so. And Meef is back on now.
Hello.
Oh, great. Now what is... Meef, you should have heard what Jim was saying about you earlier. I'm glad you're a little late. It would have been awkward.
I'm the only person who saw Jim maybe or maybe not make a shot on Pong, so...
Meef, do the British play beer pong? Do you guys play with your booze over there?
I think they call it Beirut, right?
We generally don't have the space.
Jesus Christ, Meef. Talking a mile a minute over here. Let us talk.
Byron, you have to understand, he's on another continent. It takes time for the signal to get there for him to hear the question and then respond. You have to be more patient. Talk over this kid every fucking week on this show, man. You've been doing it for like a year solid now.
He needs a faster translator app on his phone.
He speaks English. He probably speaks it more correctly than we do.
Yeah, but what's the setting of Google Translate for Cockney?
He's not Cockney.
I hate Cockneys.
He's a bit more of a Scouser.
Oh my god.
that was a quick response.
Have we gotten this all wrong, Meef?
Yeah, I'm from Yorkshire.
Yorkshire pudding? What about Yorkshire? This is the best.
Meef, have you seen King Ralph? How true is King Ralph?
Byron, every time his microphone finally starts to get him through, you just jump all over what he's saying.
How am I supposed to know if he's talking when I can't hear him?
Oh my god.
He loves King Ralph though.
Meef, anyway. Have you had some spotted dick?
No.
He strikes me as more of a bangers and mash kind of guy.
Well,
yeah.
Fish and chips, bangers and mash.
All right. A couple of 3,000 things have happened in wrestling, MMA, combat,
amazing, though.
Sports
Let's be honest.
Since the last time we did this thing. Last time we were here, it was episode 100. And boy, was that a party.
Yeah.
Also, the last time we were here, our most popular episode ever was still Eric Van Wagenen. That is no longer the case. Our new #1 episode of all time is our initial interview with Sonny Kiss.
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome.
Amazing. New talent
So
just coming in, shaking things up.
Thank you for Sonny for coming on the show multiple times.
Yeah, twice now.
Thank you. Sonny rules. Sonny had an awesome vignette on Lucha one of the past
That wasn't a
weeks.
vignette. That wasn't a vignette. That was a moment. A
Yeah.
flash dance moment.
I mean, it was kind of like Taya's Perfect Woman promo that wasn't really a vignette so much as it was just, 3 minutes of awesomeness for Taya. It was kind of the same thing.
Also, can we get Jack Evans on the show and ask him what was it like to watch a montage in person?
When you peek through the cracks in the walls, you get to see a montage apparently in the temple. The new ice temple does that.
Lots of stuff happens back there.
I don't know. I wonder how Jack feels about Lucha Underground these days. I wonder if Jack would come and even talk about Lucha Underground, or if he would, now that he's finally in civilization with like a computer and a phone and things, if he would just like totally no sell it. Does anybody know what his current state of mind and thinking about Lucha is?
He's back teaming with Teddy Hart in AAA, so I'm on the Never Say Never boat. But he seems like, it didn't seem like he got a lot of in-ring stuff, but he seems to have a lot of really solid acting scenes in Lucha Underground so far. So I hope he sticks around. I hope he goes back on his Twitter retirement.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I mean, last time I saw Jack in person at a Lucha Underground event, he seemed a little bit over it. I'm not gonna lie, he was not thrilled. I mean, he was still like happy with the locker room and to come and do his thing, but I don't know. He just seemed to be around about AAA and Lucha at the time, and
yeah. Well, there was something. There's something to. I mean, what we sort of discussed off the record. Or I don't want to do spoilers, but
so you're gonna put it on the record now. What are you talking about?
So here we go. No, I mean, I'm not going to get into spoilers and stuff, but I will say that I heard in an interview that someone mentioned how there were talks in season 4 early on of extending, but they were still too late to actually plan and logistically do it. And so I think that played into perhaps the fact that he may have thought that he was going to get something that eventually is getting pushed to season 5 when they start filming again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that was the case for a few people.
Yeah.
That there were more grand plans for season 4 than were allowed by the time and budget, especially.
Yeah.
So
with that point, I think how a lot of people soured on Lucha when it's like, oh, we're gonna start in a year, oh, we're gonna start in 6 months. We're starting this October. And it doesn't happen until March, and people start souring on it. But I think it came back and people loved it again. And I think that there's potential. I think there's potential for Jack to be presented with something that he's interested in, and then he does it.
Hey, look, if we're talking about heat right now that people have, we got to talk about the heat between Meatloaf and Jim.
That's true.
After that photograph of Jim Skay pushing up on Meatloaf's favorite, the Wolf.
Hey, listen, that's not my fault. I'm sorry.
First of all,
go ahead, explain yourself, Jim. Let Jim explain himself first.
I mean, it's his reputation.
I took someone to their very first wrestling match, and it just so happened that Chris Wolf was there. This was bar wrestling, the first one they've ever done in actual LA. Instead of Baldwin Park. And, Vinny's here now.
Oh,
keep going.
He's back from the dead. All right, yeah.
Wait, what's going on? There's a ghost on right now, guys. What happened?
Is Joey Ryan on?
Joey Ryan.
Jimmy's trying to deflect right now because he keeps chatting up women at Lucha shows who belong to other people, like Chris
Bar
Wolf,
wrestling.
who
Bar
belongs to
wrestling.
Meatloaf. Bar wrestling?
Yeah, bar.
I don't even know
wrestling.
what I said. Oh, did
Yeah,
I say
just like
bar wrestling.
I don't
yeah,
even know
just
what
like
I'm saying.
how Evil East belongs to Byron.
Oh my god.
Exactly.
No comment.
Vinny, were you in the locker room when Vanilla Ice
Yes.
sold Byron down
Yes.
the river to Evil
Yes.
East?
Oh my god, that was. Wow, I feel so bad because I looked right at him and his face just turned completely red. He looked like, man, he wanted to like run away so fast. And Evil East was like, "Which one's Byron? Which one's like looking around? Which one was Byron?" And I was just like, "Oh man, this is so good."
I still don't think she even like recognized I was in the room.
Even
It's
if
fine.
you were in the room, she just didn't know who you were because she was just like, "Yeah, my buddy," and just pointed to like everybody, and everyone's like kind of started smiling. But I think she figured out because you were the one that was the brightest and reddest, so I think she knew it was you.
I want to believe that that's true. Also, for those who didn't hear that story when it happened, Vanilla Ice was kind of in the locker room that day, the second day of the taping, and he basically just flat out told the entire locker room that Byron had a crush on Evil East, and that was his favorite. And
Pretty
that was
much
why he came to the whole show, and
Right.
Byron pooped himself a little bit.
I mean, what are you gonna do when Rob blows up your spot?
I mean, it would have been. I don't. I mean, I was never acknowledged as a human being, so it went like any other situation like that. It felt pretty normal.
Who's giving us echo feedback? Is that you, Vinny? Let me check. All right, is it go away? It's Vinny. Vinny, you're giving us
me?
echoes. How are you giving us echoes?
I have no idea. I'm on headphones.
It's from the
What
past.
is
That's
that?
why.
What the hell am I doing?
Weird. All right, is it better now, guys?
Oh, Angie says she was there for that match.
So here I want to talk about. Damn, Vinny, you are.
Could we do a quick?
Is it me?
Oh, sorry, Vinny. I'm trying to adjust this.
I don't know. Justin's the gatekeeper. You would know.
What do I know?
Like whose feedback? Like who's now?
It's Vinny. It's Vinny.
Okay. So to recap,
How the hell is it
basically,
me?
Meatloaf has exclaimed his adoration for Chris Wolf, who then took a picture with Jim at a non-lucha show at a bar in Los Angeles, apparently for the first time, which upsets Meatloaf. He doesn't want to talk about it. He's really mad. This other thing happened that maybe embarrassed me. We don't have to get into that. And I think we're caught up. Should we very quickly pay tribute to a few people today that passed away?
Yeah, let's go for it.
So I personally only really know of two of them, Nikolai Volkov and Brian Christopher. I don't know the third one, unfortunately. I know it's
There was four. There was four actually. There's actually another one. It was Trevor Lee's dad passed away.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Trevor
That's right.
Trevor Lee's dad.
3 in 1 day? That's crazy.
4.
And Trevor Lee's dad passed away too.
Yeah, it's from.
So what were the circumstances behind these? I've been out of the loop. And Vinny, hey, just wave at me if you want to talk. You want to have your mic down.
Brian Christopher was a sad story. He had been in jail for a few weeks, and then he hung himself. It's sad. It's very unfortunate.
Oh no! Seriously?
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah. Horrible.
He had been struggling for a long time. It's very unfortunate. He through his struggles, he had always been like a really great act on TV. Really put a lot of smiles on people's faces, kids' faces, and it's sad.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely one of those good time wrestlers, and I mean, his gimmick certainly helped with that too. But it's kind of a dying breed and a dying art form nowadays too, to just have those those characters that just get a pop every time and make a smile, and people are just simply happy because they're there and they're performing in the ring. And he was definitely one of those.
Yeah. And then Nikolai Volkov, was he?
Well, insert 15-minute Casey awesome story about Nikolai Volkov here. I'm sure Casey would be the guy with to regale us in old school tales, but it's Casey's birthday. We decided to not have him on the show. That was the nicest thing we could do for Casey. So happy birthday, Casey!
Wait, so does that mean we can put "Where Is Casey" shirts back up on the website?
Oh yeah, maybe now is the time. Speaking of which,
Were they ever?
Vinny, you got one of these shirts coming, brother. I just need to get a mailing address for you. Everybody who was a part of episode 100 is going to get one of these. It's probably one of my favorite shirts that we've ever. Love it. I got a couple of them in the mail. I got a pile of them sitting here for all the talent that was on the show that day. I've got an extra small for Vinny sitting right over there with a spaghetti stain on it already.
Is there pineapple on it?
Boys extra large.
We got to talk about this, Vinny. I'm going to turn your mic back up here and let you explain to me. First of all, I think I might be the first person in the crowd to get a crucial spoken word cameo. And it happened to be me telling Vinny to get the fuck out of here or something. I feel so bad about it. But I feel like it was a warning more than, any kind of insult to Vinny. But Vinny, what happened? Why the fuck did you get on Antonio's bad side? What happened, bro?
You know what? I'm not too really sure. That's a very good question, actually. I don't even know what in fact I did, but whatever the hell I did, there's obviously I wasn't the only one, so I guess that makes me feel a little better.
Yeah, but this was a serious big deal, man. This was kind of viral. Like, look, we've seen a lot of people die. The disciples are all dead. The crew's all dead. They killed off Mr. Spectacular, which was, I think, a good move in the fact that he was from the outside. It got the crowd kind of behind this whole Matanza sacrificing people thing. I think people really popped for it. But
Justin, you're forgetting an important detail.
What's that?
No one else got a pineapple pizza.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're talking about the level of disdain that Papa Cueto, El Jefe Antonio Cueto, who says he doesn't like to be called Papa, the level of disdain that he had to have for Vinny to bring him a pineapple pizza and then send Matanza out. That's just rude.
Well, see, here's the thing. Like, I don't know if you guys ever seen like old mobster movies like The Godfather or anything. You know, when someone's about to die, they send them like a live fish. Well. And, to me, him giving me the pineapple pizza was like that. That was a sign that, me and him are at war. So obviously something happened in the back. Maybe because I kept calling him Papa Cueto. I wish you would have told me that he doesn't like that. But I will say this, and you know this because you guys are all big fans of Lucha Underground. To me, Lucha Underground is like Game of Thrones. Unless you see like the dead body, on TV, like you actually see him dead. I don't believe that anybody's dead. You know what I mean? It's like anybody who knows what's gonna happen. Like I have no idea what is happening in the future, but everyone's saying, "Oh, I'm a ghost and I'm dead." Who knows where the hell I'm at? Actually, you know what I mean? You never know with the writers got up their sleeves in the Lucha Underground universe what's gonna happen.
This is true, and I've heard rumors that there may be some things, but I don't know. They're not confirmed rumors, but I have heard talk that there could be something that happens down the line, which would be awesome. Or maybe they just give you another gimmick. That would be incredible to see Vinny come back as like some ancient Aztec warrior luchador and just work total high spot lucha libre for a while.
That would be amazing.
Man, you know what? It's so funny because, like, you guys are way too smart. Like, it would have to be like a really good outfit because as soon as I come out, everyone's just gonna be like, "Oh, hey, what's up, Vinny?" I'm like, "Oh, Jesus Christ."
Well, Vinny, I just saw Santino Marella on Impact without his gimmick, and he is a noted Canadian who played a goofy Italian on TV, right? Could you come back as a goofy Canadian?
Are you saying that I'm a goofy Italian?
No, I'm saying what he was doing was he was doing like a, he would do a parody of an Italian who obviously had a snake in his pants. So you could turn it around and make fun of Canadians.
Okay, well, I do have a snake. I do have a snake in my pants, so that's a little close. So
That's a spicy meatball.
Spicy meatball.
there's two spicy meatballs and a snake. So thank you, Meef. Appreciate
Well, maybe
that.
you could join the reptile tribe.
You know what? That'd be kind of weird to explain. I don't know if we can. I don't know what rating we got the Lucha Underground. I think we're like PG-13 going on. I don't know because we're swearing this season. I don't know if we can do a rated R one.
Well, maybe. I thought for sure, my first phone call was to call up a friend of yours, a certain Panda, because I thought he might have something to say about this and come in and just wreck shop on everybody. Maybe that's.
I'm getting tired of everyone like saying. I hate that guy. That Panda is a piece of crap. Like he just all he does is just makes me want to like run errands for him. Like, cause he's from Japan, so obviously he still believes in like that old school mentality of like having a young boy, and so like I'm his young boy, but I'm like, dude, I'm not young. It's like stop calling me a young boy, but whatever. I hate that guy. I wish he
really
just
have that much baggage to carry.
Yeah, he's a piece of crap. I hate that guy.
Does he make you chop down eucalyptus street? No, that's a koala bear. I fucked that up.
Wow. I'm gonna go and tell him you said that. You're still thinking about Evil East there. Look at you, you're all bright red.
What?
Redder than a hair.
Look at you. Look at your face. You're bright red there, Byron. You're still thinking about Evil East probably. That moment is bringing you back.
No, that color is red. This is my face.
I'm sorry.
I'm sunburned because I work in the sun all the time.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's just your face because you don't sleep that much. That's right. I forget.
I don't sleep that much.
Yeah, that's been true. We haven't done this show in a couple of weeks because we've been so damn busy.
Yeah. Dude, Vinny, I shot a scene with the Headbangers. Do you know those guys?
Oh, nice. I mean, I've never met them, but I do know who they are. I remember when they first came out, they were the Flying Nuns.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick before I forget, because I wanted to mention that I know you guys were talking about Brian Christopher and Nikolai Volkov, but then also Brickhouse Brown, who was an old wrestler from maybe in the like 70s and 80s, and then also Trevor Lee's dad passed away, and he was one of the people that started Omega Wrestling with Matt Hardy. So there was like 4 today, which is a little much. I think we need a break. That was like a rough day today, but anyways, you can go ahead. Let's continue with everything. What was that?
We lost Ryan Halisco since we last filmed.
Oh yeah.
Oh, did we? Oh wow.
It was last week, right?
Man.
It's been too many.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate. It's a tough business too, and people don't realize it sometimes. But and things happen, and preferably to see guys go late in their lives and have had great careers and be fondly remembered. I mean, Brian was a bit too young to check out, but
right,
it is what it is, and may they all rest in peace. So, Vinny, I have a couple of other questions for you, because as many times as you've been on the show, and Vinny was our very, very first guest on this show, I don't think
I was the trendsetter.
Tell us how the fuck you got into wrestling in the first damn place. Like, how the fuck did this journey begin for you?
Oh wow. Well, it's I mean, when I was born in Sicily, and for some weird reason in Sicily they showed the Tiger Mask cartoon. It was very popular back then. And then after the Tiger Mask cartoon, they would show New Japan Pro Wrestling. So then for some, I remember being like 3 years old in Sicily and watching New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I loved it. First fell in love with it, but fast forward, came over here. I kind of stopped watching it because of all, just wasn't getting into too much of WWE. WCW didn't like it, and then around the high school, I started. There was, I think my buddy started found out just randomly through like news groups or chat rooms that there was this thing called ECW, and there was just crazy guys. Just I remember watching Tommy Dreamer give Raven the chair shot in the cage. We're just watching it, and then obviously when you go and search, because we couldn't watch it on TV, you have to search it through the internet and like news groups and tape trading, and then we started finding out that there's like this thing called indie wrestling. Because who knew there was indie wrestling, right? I mean, unless you watch, like you're in the know, and nowadays everyone knows it, but back then you kind of didn't really know it. And lo and behold, I found out there was a indie wrestling promotion like 20 minutes from where I lived, and that was All Pro Wrestling, and I went to their show, and then they had like for a training school, which to me sounded insane. Like, how would you become like there's a school to be a wrestler? Doesn't sound right, but so I went and looked at it and watched it and decided to join. The promoter Roland Alexander said that you had to be 18 to join. I lied because I was 16, and I started training, and the rest is history, I guess you would say.
Well, it's a pretty good history. I mean, and hopefully you didn't lie and have your first match against New Jack and get all cut up, because that's not a good thing.
It was no, it was close. I wrestled Vic Grimes, or I'm sorry, I was my very first match. I was tag team with Vic Grimes, so it was kind of close. It wasn't that far fetched. I was my very first gimmick when I first started wrestling. I was one of the Grimes brothers. It was me. I was Dick Grimes, and my brother was Vic Grimes, and we were the Grimes brothers. That's my very first. That was my very first gimmick.
Amazing! I need to see some tapes of that. I don't think I've ever witnessed that.
Yeah, we used to do some crazy shit. Like, we used to bring like, remember one time we brought a car. We drove it up to the ring. And we were used to, like, do moves off the cars, and then like this was way before Austin did it, with a truck. So I mean, we used to do some crazy stuff, do like barbed wire around tables, stuff that nowadays it's like, oh, everything, people are doing it, but back then, in 97, 98, it was, it was crazy back then, but.
Well, see, and this is part of what I like too, because you're a guy that strikes me as somebody who I would believe is hard-nosed, kind of hardcore wrestler. Yet, even on this Lucha Underground, the comedy spots that you're doing, the fucking gassing out, running the ropes thing, has got to be the most I have ever laughed in the temple for a comedy spot. Even more than some of Joey Ryan shit and Jack shit. I'm losing it. Like, who came up with that fucking spot?
You know what? Of course, the genius that is DJ. Of course, Chris Joseph. He's a freaking genius, man. It's, he always. I think the thing with DJ is that he realizes, like, he sees like my Twitter thing about the pizza, and he sees that I'm a funny guy, on Twitter. So he's like, you know what? That's how he really is. So let's bring that out. I think that's why DJ is so smart, is because he doesn't like try to like, okay, well, you're this kind of wrestler, but I'm gonna make you this kind of wrestler instead. He sees the kind of personality that that I am, and he literally says, goes, the shit that you say on Twitter is hilarious. It's like, well, what? Let's bring that out, and he did, and it worked out, because obviously, what I mean. First season, I was getting my ass kicked, but I didn't get as much as a reaction as I did 10 seconds of the Aztec Warfare. So I mean, it worked out. That's why
DJ.
He brings out the strengths. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he did. One of the last times he was speaking to us. I don't think he's speaking to us.
No, he's speaking to me just fine. I talk to DJ all the time, Byron. He just hates you. It's just.
I just no. I mean, I could have done without that clarification.
I mean, it's you.
Does he talk to you, Meef?
He called me. He called me in the morning.
Oh, you too? Oh, okay. Maybe it's just you two guys, but no one else.
No, he talks to
But
me
last
too.
time DJ spoke to us, he was
Oh no, he
talking
talks to Jim
about.
as well.
He does. He followed Jim.
Talks to everyone actually.
Oh, he followed Jim.
Yeah.
What?
I thought he wasn't following any of us.
No, he's
Nope.
He followed the panda too. That's weird.
Oh, Jim's here.
Jim even managed to chime in during his beer pong. Yeah. It's just you, Byron. Like, look, he even
just
let
you, buddy.
Vinny,
Probably other people.
He even let Vinny get in the most offense against Matanza that anyone has this season.
Oh, so he likes you too, Vinny, but
Yeah, it's just you. It's actually we've had dinners talking about how much he doesn't like you. But anyways, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
oh, I was just gonna say, one of the last times he was on, he spoke highly of you and your Twitter game and all that, so he definitely knows about it. But he took, as a fellow, I think he's Italian, or he pretends to be Italian because he likes to eat pizza. He took issue with how generous your pizza ratings were.
Yeah, I remember he mentioned that I was a little too nice, but and I told him when he mentioned it, I told him, I was like, listen. Half the time when everyone posts the pizza is I'm either like dieting or really, really hungry. So of course everything looks good unless it's like, something really bad. Cause I mean, I get a cheap meal like once every 2 weekends or, 2 weeks. So it's once I see you guys post that pizza, man, I'll get hungry. And I'm like, it's the greatest pizza I've ever seen in my life because I'm hungry and I want to eat it. It's the way it is.
Yeah, and I could see where that would be the exact opposite case for DJ.
Maybe this is the reason why he doesn't like you. This is the reason why he doesn't talk to you.
Clearly, the guy's not even here to defend himself, and you're gonna throw some shit out at him. I hope he's listening to this. He's gonna get
he plays in Italian. Yeah, wow, no wonder why he hates you. Oh my goodness.
My feelings are hurt and I'm sensitive.
You're lashing out. I see. I can see it. That's terrible of you, Byron.
No, I think DJ's great. He's just fun to poke at.
Yeah.
Hey, Vinny, some of our listeners may not know this, but you were on the Howard Stern show once, right?
Ooh.
I sure was. As a matter of fact, you can look it up. How was that?
I said, what the hell was that about?
Oh, well, because I'm a humongous Howard Stern fan, like just the biggest Howard Stern fan. So when he got married, there was everyone was talking about how his wife is so beautiful, but he's so ugly, So and like on, I think TMZ or like Entertainment, they said that it was the most like mismatched couple ever. So he decided to have a contest for a ugly guy and a hot wife. So I sent my pictures in because I have an extremely hot wife. And they chose me, and they flew me out to the show, paid me, got to meet Howard Stern, got to meet my hero Ari Lang, and I lost because they said I was too beautiful. So,
Yeah, this is the best case scenario. Show, and you're not technically the ugliest dude there. So it was win-win.
Right, I felt like I lost, but I was actually won because like they kept saying how good looking I was. Like they compared me to who did they compare me to? Compare me to Sean Penn, right. And I was like, thank you, I appreciate this 100%. So yeah, but they gave me some third prize money, so I was happy. But to me, honestly, anything to me, Howard Stern, because I love the guy. He's like it's my all-time favorite. I mean, and Ari Lang was there, so obviously.
Yeah, Artie is the man.
And they put your lady over, which is awesome. And then Grado stole your whole gimmick.
Oh, an Impact? Yeah. I think there's actually, if you guys if you guys have ever met a bunch of pro wrestlers, and you've seen a lot of their wives, there's a lot of that gimmick being stolen in pro wrestling, actually.
You might be right about that. I'm a huge fan of Katarina, and I was very happy when she got in that gimmick just because she's fucking going for it. But you gotta have somebody. You gotta have somebody that knows how to play that gimmick, right, Meef? I mean, it's not. You can't just jump into that gimmick and say it's the hot chick with the, the guy. She's got to go for it and make the gimmick work. And so far, she's doing it. I love it.
Thank you, Meef. Appreciate that.
Yeah, Meef concurs.
I have actually got a question for Vinny.
Yes.
Did you ever get to tag or wrestle Martina the Moth?
Yes.
That's it.
What was the question?
Great. Awesome.
What was the question? What was the question? What was the question though?
Did you get to wrestle with Session?
Oh no, I did not. I did not get to wrestle with the Session Moth. Me.
Oh.
I didn't hear. I'm sorry.
No, it's.
I didn't know, and I did not get to wrestle the Session Moth.
Have you wrestled this wrestler? This is my impersonation of a British person. Have you wrestled this guy? Have you wrestled this wrestler?
And no wonder why nobody likes you, Byron. You're just fucking clowning everyone. Jesus.
No, I'm just. First of all,
everybody.
I'm not the one who's showing up here with a pedo stash, Meatloaf.
Wow. Oh my God.
I don't know. Have you been at HQ Trivia? Byron Turk is a menace.
Unbelievable.
This whole thing.
What if there's some people saying bad things about me on that game?
There's things about you everywhere, Byron. But this is Vinny's time. Let's focus on.
This is not about me.
Let's not put you over
come
anymore
on, guys.
Vinny, we got a question in the chat room from someone with the username Lucha Underground for some reason. What was the worst Vinny ever?
That would be Mil Machetes. Now, ask a question.
Well, it's just weird because his name is Lucha Underground.
Okay, ask the question already. It's Mil Machetes.
I already did. What was the worst bump Vinny ever took?
Oh man, the worst bump I ever took. Yikes. Probably have to be, like in Lucha Underground, would probably have to be the Pentagon driver on the pizza. No, I'm sorry, I take it back. That was pretty bad, but the Brian Cage choke slammed on the floor, that was ridiculous. I don't know why I'm an idiot for that one. That one hurt a lot. Of all time, I think it probably has to be when I got choke slammed from the top of the car through the hood of the car. That one hurt a lot. And then I also did some stupid shit at XPW.
Well, who didn't do stupid shit at XPW?
Yeah.
But yeah, that definitely. Oh my God, I was dumb. I took a bump through a bed of nails. That did not feel good. Barbed wire. Yeah, just I was a hardcore wrestler for years back then, and I was taking barbed wire bumps and light tubes and thumbtacks. So yeah. I mean, I still do it every now and then, but not as. I mean, back then I was just doing like every single time. Like one time I missed a moonsault onto a bed of barbed wire and thumbtacks, and that felt like that did not feel good on my face.
That was honestly the best thing about XPW, though, because it was a lot of you younger guys that were coming up who had seen ECW, except instead of doing what ECW was doing, which is like they'd have one ridiculous match a night or show, it was like every match was trying to do 3 times as much as any of the worst ECW.
Right. Yeah, it was terrible. And like every time I'd be like, oh man, I don't know if I want to do it. And then Vic Grimes would be like, man, you gotta do it. I'm like, thanks, buddy. Thanks, older brother. You're supposed to be the voice of reason. Oh man, you should do it. You should totally do it. I'm like, all right, cool, thanks, man. So.
Oh, I love it. What a crazy business. What a crazy business. So, Vinny, what do you got going on now? You got any other shows coming up? Anything coming up soon?
Yeah, I mean, I got some shows coming up, local area. I'm hoping to announce something big that's coming up later on in the year. I
was hoping we'd get you to slip up and say that shit now.
Well, it's not 100%. Yeah, I'm in the Mae Young Classic, the number 2. I'm gonna go ahead and say it now, but no, it's not 100%. So obviously in pro wrestling, if it's not 100%, I don't believe it. But I might be going to Japan at the end of the year. So it's my first time, and I'm pretty excited about that. So I'm hoping it happens because obviously, you know, it's not like, you know, oh, I'm just gonna go drive down the street. It's a big deal. So hopefully it happens, and as soon as I hear confirmation, I'll announce it. But you know, it's pro wrestling, so if it's not 100%, I don't believe it until it actually is 100%. Unfortunately, because it's happened before.
Totally true. But see, I hope you do end up in Japan for a little bit. I'd love to see you over there throwing some snoring elbows. I'd love to see Cross over there too. You're two guys who I could totally see just having a field day in Japan.
Yeah, hopefully, you know, it's my dream come true. You know, like I said before, you know, it's the very first thing I ever watched, and it's for a really, it's one of my favorite promotions of all time. So if it does happen, I'll be extremely happy, and I will let you guys know first. I'll definitely let you guys know first.
Absolutely, we want to know.
Bring it back here. Bring us back the goods, brother. And you know, it's funny. So when Vinny did some of his tapings and stuff for Lucha Underground, we talked afterwards, and he was asking me like, "Oh, do you think that was over?" and blah blah blah. I'm telling you, that temple for this match that you saw this past week, the sacrifice of Vincenz was deafening. It was Pentagon loud for his appearance this past week, and his previous appearance too. So I will say this, Vinny, regardless of if DJ ever lets you actually win a match or not, with the believers, with the Lucha Clique in the temple, you are 130% fucking over, my friend.
I appreciate it. I'm always, you know me, I'm always like, I don't know, it's hard to describe. I'm always worried, and you know, I'm always just, you know, when I get people's reactions, because when I'm in there, I'm just kind of like, when I'm in the ring, I'm just kind of like, okay, gotta do my thing. I don't pay attention or anything. Like, well, except for you, obviously, in the beginning of the match. But like everything else, I'm just kind of like in the moment. So I don't really hear the crowd. I don't hear anything. So it's hard to tell. So that's why I always ask other people around.
Well, I'm happy to report back, especially when I have good news like that, and it's not. Yeah, it was crickets for your shit, bro. Because that's.
Yeah, and the crowd goes mild. Yeah, that's good.
For the tens and dozens of people watching around the world.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, hey man, how was my match? Because you wrestled? I don't remember.
Oh, you were on the card?
Yes, I wrestled. Yeah, it was so quick. But no, I mean, honestly, it's you know, as much as you keep mentioning that you would love to see me win, man, I'm having so much fun, and I mean, as you say, I'm over when I don't win, so it doesn't really matter, right? Who cares?
Yeah, maybe.
If you come back, I really want to see a feud with your pizza delivery guy. That guy seems like a dick.
Yeah, he stole my wallet, stole my money.
Yeah,
but you know, I mean, he got what he deserved. He went back, and you know what? At least I will say this: the pizza got sacrificed too, so I don't go hungry wherever I'm at. So that's good.
That's true. See, what I'm hoping for is that in some other realm, in some other world, you and Pizza Guy K are just battling to no end.
For the money, for my wallet, I need to get my wallet back.
For the $4.84 that was in Vinny's wallet.
I know, right? Jeez.
Wait, was the pizza sacrifice too?
I assume
the pizza was gone. There was no more pizza.
The pizza, the wall were all sacrificed along with Vinny.
Oh, that's good.
The pizza was stuck to the pizza.
Did disappear.
The pizza was stuck to my back. It had to go.
It's pineapple that needed sacrificing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways.
All right, Vinny. Do you have any words for Antonio Cueto and his son, the Monster Matanza?
Oh man. Well, I guess I shouldn't call him Papa Cueto anymore since he doesn't like that. But you know, man, it's just, you know, I can't believe you did me that. You know, you did me so wrong. And I don't even care about the sacrifice. It's the fact that you gave me a pineapple pizza. I think that's like the most. You know, the worst thing you did. It's not even the sacrifice. It's just the fact that you get, like, I'm Italian and you give me a pineapple pizza. Like, I mean, I don't know, man. That's a real heel. Like, you want to hear, you know, you want to talk about people talk about Terry Funk branding people. You know, Papa Cueto giving Vinnie Massaro a pineapple pizza will go on as one of wrestling's most devious and dastardly moves of all time.
It's up there, brother.
Yeah.
really
Well,
is.
as always, Vinny, you're
It's
always welcome
despicable.
on the show. Glad we could have you on after a week where you got a huge reaction and you were the guy that everyone was talking about in the whole game. So congratulations for
I know.
another amazing performance on Lucha Underground, and you got to come back again soon, brother.
I sure will. I think the best part is that for some reason today I had like 20 followers, and they were all Italian. So I don't know if Lucha Underground like aired in Italy over the weekend or something. But all these Italian people started following me, and the best part is that they all understood what I told Matanza, which wasn't a very good, which wasn't a very good thing. So
I did.
And
I understood.
oh, you understood it, yeah. So
Can you tell us?
So I think yeah, Vaffanculo pezzi merda
Well.
basically means fuck you piece of shit. So and they're saying, and all my Italian fans are saying that should be the new catchphrase. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I don't know if we can get away with that, but let's go ahead and go for it, I guess.
Can you be a pro wrestling t-shirt?
I'd put that on a shirt somewhere. I think that would fly.
Yeah, you know, Vaffanculo pezzi
No,
merda.
but
They're like,
no,
I love
no.
that shirt. I'm like, you have no idea what. My favorite is when I go and wrestle like indie shows and I go to fans and I tell them, hey, Vaffanculo pezzi merda, and they're like, oh, high five, and they all high five me, but they have no idea what I'm saying to them.
Oh man, hey, you know, I've heard Pentagon say worse to Phoenix about their own mother, so it can't be that bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know. I love Pentagon comes out to the on the temple and goes, chingo tu madre, and everyone's like, yeah, thank you, Pentagon. I'm like, you guys.
Well, Phoenix spits in everyone's mouth. I mean, I guess something's lost in translation out there.
Yeah, hey, Animo, and everyone opens their mouth and then he spits on them. I'm like, that's great. It's a great gimmick. They're like, yeah, like you just got sprayed in the mouth. Animo. All right, cool, guys. I'd be like, oh my God, please get away from me. You're spitting all over me. But, you know, they love Phoenix. What can I say? The Lucha Underground, the believers are crazy. But thank you for having me. And I'll make sure to tell Casey hello or happy birthday wherever he's at because he's not here.
Do you want to comment on this? Right now he's in Vegas visiting his girlfriend.
Molesting us.
Wait, I thought you were the one that had a fake girlfriend in Vegas.
Me?
Yeah.
No.
How many of you guys have a quote unquote girlfriend in Vegas?
One.
that
The
you?
one that is here.
Oh.
I have a
So
whole
this
nother
is the actual. Oh yeah, that's true. It's real to me, buddy. It's just like pro wrestling. Oh wait, who's this? Someone just joined in. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate it. I'll tell him and his imaginary girlfriend in Vegas, happy birthday. But I'll see you guys around.
Cheers,
Thank you,
Vinny.
Vinny.
All right, bye.
I'm like rejoined now. I was my internet booted me for
Why
a
are there
minute.
two match mayhem going on? What happened?
He just answered. If you just were patient and listened to Meef's lag because he goes to Britain and back, just would have explained it.
Hey,
Thank you, Vinny.
Let's talk about some Lucha Underground since we're still on that topic before we get into some of the other news around the wrestling and combat.
Before we get into that, my phone is dying, so I'm gonna have to peace out. But I'd like to extend this apology to me for meeting Chris Wolf without him present, because it was great. And she's actually going to be at Bar Wrestling again this Thursday. I don't know if I'm going to make it or not, but you're going to be damn well sure I'm going to try.
And just rubbing it in more.
Hey, Jimmy.
Okay with you?
Jimmy, before your phone dies, can we watch you do a few push-ups?
Nobody needs to
I mean, I guess you could, but I'm not going to give you that as satisfaction.
Let's do it. Do some burpees. I just take your whole shirt off, though.
He's saving them for Chris.
No,
Wolf on
that's
Thursday.
good. I'm good. I'm good.
We got to get some.
Congrats on 100 episodes. Congrats on 101 episodes, guys.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that Josh Pill is still at this point of the show. So, hey, good on you, buddy.
There's no way. There's no way Josh Pill listened this far. It's impossible.
Probably not. But so happy birthday, Casey. Thank you, Vinny. And I'll see you guys later.
Late.
Bye.
Oh, Meatloaf. Why you let him do you like that, man?
You know he's gonna try to make out with Chris Wolf.
I asked Meatloaf. Why do you
I know, but I
always
answered
interrupt
for
him? God dang it! The guy is on
He's a pretty
all
guy.
the way from England. It's like 5 a.m. there. He got up early just to be on the show with us, and you've let me 2 things this entire show.
All right, Meef,
2.
say something.
What?
I give it.
I think I rest my
I did
case.
that on purpose. I did that on purpose.
I know. That was amazing. Amazing comedic timing. All right, so
He's a pretty guy. He's a pretty guy. So if I lose to Jim, but I've got more meat on me. So I'm just saying.
I like that.
We know what you mean, Meef.
I do like the John Waters thing you got going on there too.
Yeah.
I can't grow facial hair.
I can't either, but I keep doing it. This whole thing right here just doesn't ever connect. It hasn't connected in 40 some odd years yet. I'm working on it. So I also want to talk a little about the rest of this episode of Lucha Underground. We also haven't spoken in a few weeks, so there's been a few interesting developments in Lucha Underground. But I kind of want to start from the end and work my way forward, because I think that Dragon Aztec Jr. is a great choice for Gift to the Gods champion.
Absolutely. He's the real deal, and you've seen his progression from him and Marty both had similar progressions from season 1, sort of outsiders who kind of came in, and they were kids.
It's nice to see him actually get the rub for a change, because he kind of last season was kind of the loser, and he kind of looked like he was going a bit off. So it's nice for him to kind of get the.
But he was the apprentice. He was the apprentice of Puma and Ray. But
like,
now
he was like a terrible apprentice.
Yeah, he wasn't very good at being an apprentice. But that's
he was like the world's shittest Jedi.
Yeah, but it put him in the world with those characters and that caliber of guy too, which I think did elevate his character enough that this timing works perfectly for him, I think.
Yeah, he needs it. He needed that little. But it was a strong match as well. That was the thing. If you look at the guys who were in it and like how he won it.
Yeah, I really loved that setup too. Some people complained about it. Some people liked it. The Antonio Cueto booking style, I really enjoy. I just think his explanations are shit, though. They're so goddamn confusing. And even when we were live for some of them, it was like, so how the fuck is this going to go down?
Oh, yeah. Well, even at the beginning, I can't even remember. There were so many matches where he had to redo the explanation.
Yeah, and it's like, once the match starts and you see how it's laid out, it makes sense. But somewhere between Krista Joseph's brain and the words that come out of Antonio Cueto's mouths and the believer's ears, something gets lost, because trying to figure out exactly what the fucking rules are, it's not until like the third time Stryker explains it that anybody has a fucking clue.
Yeah. Well, Antonio Cueto is an old man, so it's cut him some slack.
And it happened before too with the the three
team
guys are the trios champion, the Son of Havoc, like that whole setup where he gives him the belt, and then they start off Aztec Warfare by fighting each other. Like the whole thing was so confusing by the time the match got going that you were like, what's going on?
It seemed like it was too much like going on at the time.
Yeah, but
that one.
But it was just this one was just the explanation was a little bit weird. But doing it that way, having 2 trios teams face off against each other, and then those 3 face off to see who is actual Gift of the Gods champion, I loved it, because it felt like you're getting really 2 matches for the price of 1, and you did.
It mixes up, and isn't it usually a ladder match as well? So I mean, which sometimes can get boring. Everything always been on a ladder.
Oh, yeah, Gift to the Gods.
Yeah,
I think it has been.
Yeah. Cuerno versus Fenix, wasn't it?
Well, and then Son of Havoc versus Penta.
That was a ladder.
Yeah,
but
so
that
also
was
the
a
whole-
special.
it was-
but I don't think they haven't all been ladder matches though.
No, but that ladder match was because they had a that match beforehand where they both got a pinfall to finish. So the
Yeah.
original Gift to the Gods match for that season was, you know, a version of Aztec Warfare's Battle Royal, where, you know what I mean?
I've
Yeah,
been paying great attention.
What
Sorry.
else? It's
I'm
such a
texting you,
blur.
Byron, about that other thing that we can't talk about.
I know, it's blowing my mind.
Let's not talk about that.
Oh, I know. It's amazing that we can't talk about it though. It's so good. Anyway, moving on.
What else happened in this week's? Because it's all blurring and there's only really
all
one
blurring. I
thing.
can't remember what was the first match.
London.
Sunny Kiss.
No. Last
Yeah.
week was London. The highlights for me are Rabbit Tribe matches. So for me, I'm just gonna go out of order. London's match versus was it Desmond?
Yeah.
Xavier? Desmond X was great. I love Paul London is the man. I loved how
Wait, was his match against Desmond?
I think it was.
Yeah, it's Desmond's first
was
match.
for-
Debut, wasn't it?
It was for one of the coins.
Oh,
and
that
he
was
lost.
last week then.
That was last week. And I loved how during Desmond's entrance, when they have the shot of Melissa, you have a shiny black cod piece right in the background. that was great. And then I loved.
Also, do you like this new black, dark kind of Paul London vibe? I mean, he was doing the all white, very kind of jovial, happy, Mad Hatter on ecstasy kind of thing previously, and he seems to have gone to a much darker place since our boy, the White Rabbit, who looks a whole lot like Killer Cross, since that guy showed up.
Yeah, I like that. I think there's been a subtle change in ring with him as well. I wish he would have won, but I also like Desmond X is, you know, you lose to him or giving him the rub. That's not a bad idea either. But I like where that's going. I loved the vignette they had at the end of the prior episode, where it was just, I wish Rabbit Tribe was on every week, just in a cinematic little sequence vignette. They don't have to have matches. I just wish we saw more of those.
I think there's going to be quite a few. I remember Paul and the White Rabbit talking about the fact that they were hoping to shoot a whole bunch of stuff. And I know that was kind of during the last weekends, but almost everything else was shot out. So I think they were getting a ton of their vignettes late in the game, and hopefully they got a bunch of them. I know that the one that that big one that we saw last week with all the blood on the face and everything, that was done the last week of tapings for Lucha Underground. So even though it's running really early in the season, but that just shows you how much they liked it and how well it's played, which is awesome.
It was beautiful. It was so beautiful. I love the close-ups on London as he was smashing.
That was a lot of blood too. Like we saw a lot of blood when the cage mashing Renegade's face thing, but this was different. This was very like ultra violence, Clockwork
Evil
Orange
Death.
combined with Phantasm kind of blood here.
It was great. It was almost like a squirt gun right in the eyes of blood. It was just so. It was just beautiful.
Let's talk honestly. What do you think between the two very brand new presentations of Kevin Cross? You've got kind of where he's going with Impact, which is really the gimmick that he's created for himself on the indies. It's really a great extension of that, which is really good for him for bookings and whatnot, that he gets to basically play the character that he created. And they're giving him and whatnot, and it feels like he's a very strong hand in his own presentation over there. Or they just liked it so much that they brought that whole presentation in, which is cool too. Then you've got kind of his mad persona. What's that?
I was just saying, like, it's like we were talking about during the week. The Impact, the best thing they're doing at the minute is kind of letting guys do their thing. So like with Cross, it's like that's the character. It's really good, and now they're just giving it a platform where it can be better.
Right.
And
yeah,
like,
Austin Aries
he does
cut
all
that
this crazy
promo
stuff.
on Impact this week where he's like, I'm the world champ. If you're a champ somewhere where you read a script and you go out with a list of things you can do and can't do, you're not really the best. The best is here where you get to do whatever you want and prove yourself. And everyone knows, like, that's, you know, Austin Aries, that's where he thrives and that's what he does. But he's also describing the atmosphere, and that's what Kevin Cross is doing. It's like you bring in these guys, these talents, and they're autonomous. Like they do their thing and they either get over or they don't. But you let them prove themselves.
But then you have, on the other hand, you have Lucha Underground, where DJ, as you heard Vinny talking about, will take and accentuate things that are part of your character, but he'll take them to another place, like murdering you on a pizza. Like you may say pizzas is part of your gimmick, but you know, I'm sure that, you know, Vinny wasn't thinking, hey, let me get murdered on one. And that's where DJ comes in. So it's like you get a guy like Cross that comes in and says, and, you know, DJ's probably like, oh, so what's your thing? And he's like, oh, you know, I kind of do this psychopathic murderer, American Psycho kind of gimmick, you know, natural born killers or whatever. And then you get the DJ version of that, which is the White Rabbit on a whole nother level. This weird, subtle thing. He's got some kind of strange telepathic powers, and he gets 3 guys to kill a little person. Like, what the F?
Well, I think Lucha Underground is a weird. I mean, when we say it's a TV show, not a wrestling show, in other conversations, we have to say it in this one too. And so it's kind of, in this one, it's more of like a metaphor of what someone really is or what they're best at. You don't bring in a Kevin Cross. I mean, you can, but you may not necessarily want to bring in a Kevin Cross to be the most Kevin Cross. You may want Kevin, like, what would be the most fantastical version of Kevin Cross that you would run across in the middle of a nightmare? And what
I'm kind of hoping they go that direction too. It's like we've got, you know, the killer hitman, hands-on physical Kevin Cross in AAA and in Impact right now. He's going to Doomsday Saito slam people. You know, he's coming up with new choke moves. And I like that on Impact, by the way, that they gave him a choke finish for his second
the cross.
Match. Yeah, was it the cross vest or the
cross jacket? No,
cross
I'm butchering it and I feel so bad.
It's
because I was cross jacket. I tweeted at him and he got mad at me because I was like, that's a forearm across the neck.
The straight cross.
No, it's a cross jacket. It's nice. It's like it's a snug fit.
But anyway, I'm glad that they're doing that presentation with him there, and then in AAA he's, you know, demolishing luchadors, and they're doing the right thing down there. I'm hoping that the Cross we see, especially if he gets in the ring, because I'm going to assume he's not just going to valet or manage or whatever. That would be really weird. But I'm going to assume eventually he's going to get in the ring, and I'm hoping that we see a really kind of slow, methodical, no selling, like menacing and evil, not because he's doing something, but menacing and evil because he's not, because he doesn't have to, because he has the kind of presence that instills fear without that. Because you've already got monsters in Lucha Underground. And honestly, I feel like Jake Strong has already stolen the gimmick that I had imagined that Cross would come in with.
Yeah.
But you got freaking Jack Swagger already there doing it. You can't have Kevin Cross doing it too. That would be absurd.
Yeah, I mean, Strong is doing what Killer Cross would do for sure.
And I'll be honest, because Strong debuted in Lucha Underground before Kevin, I was actually kind of bummed. Like, I liked his presentation, but at the same time, I was like, "Fuck, what are they going to do with Kevin now?" Like, I felt bad for Kevin.
I love it. I think it's working out for the best. I love Strong. I think this is the best presentation of him. And it's not even his direct personality either. He's more of a lovable, goofy, fun-loving kind of guy. And this character, I think, accentuates his talents as, in the ring, selling him as a strong fighter. No.
Wait. We have a question from Mr. Krabs. Do you want to read this one, Byron? Let's get it over with. Let's do it.
Also, is Masquerita Sagrada now playing that other so
Little
horrible
person.
word he
Let's
is?
say
Little person.
It's El Torito, isn't it?
It's El Torito.
It's El Torito.
It is not Masquerita. And if you notice, there is a scene where they are both in the scene. Because a lot of people kept saying that the other one was, in fact, Masquerita. It is not. It's El Torito, who is a little more of a flyer, a little stronger, a little less gut.
Yeah,
I believe he's a lot
And
younger,
a little
though.
bit taller.
Yeah, and a little bit taller.
You can
But
tell
yeah,
by the outfit.
Masquerita was injured, so he wasn't able to do the season.
yeah, so Masquerita was not able to wrestle anyway, which is probably part of why they smushed his face in. But yeah, so this is a different mini. It would be the correct term in Lucha Libre, or little person would be the correct term in life. We don't use that other term.
Yeah, come on, Krabs.
And he's great. He can fucking go. If you haven't seen Torito, get ready, gird up your loins. The guy can go. He's really fun to watch in the ring. And I think if he gets some ring time at Lucha, you will be very, very pleasantly impressed.
Yeah, he was fun as a bull running around. But you remember that match, the WLC match with Swoggle? That was legitimately one of the best matches of the year in WWE.
Yeah. I mean, he can freaking go.
Yeah.
Before we move on, what I was going to say was with the character he's got in LU, he can have a bit more fun with it and do because you can be a crazy killer and in Impact WWE or in normal wrestling, you need to be, I'm hard, I'm gonna murder you, and legitimately using MMA or whatever, show you. Whereas with the Lucha Underground universe, he can kind of be I want to say a caricature or a version. He could be like the Joker, the anime, the cartoon, the comic book Joker.
And I think there's definitely a world of that for him too. It's going to take a little bit of work for him though, because it's not his normal thing. It is a little bit outside of his normal box. So it'll be interesting to see how he inhabits that.
I will say this though,
he can do it. He can do in Lucha Underground. He could do he's having to do a chokehold or a segment where he actually has to punch someone in the head. In Lucha Underground, they do some weird thing where he pulls people apart with chains, ripping their arms and legs off.
I'd watch it.
You know what I mean? You can't sell that in a real wrestling show, but in Lucha Underground, you can dismember people.
I will say this.
All the more reason I hope they go for it. What were you going to say, Byron?
Kevin Cross has appeared as the character Killer Cross in independents all over the world. He's appeared in AAA as Killer Cross, and he's appeared in Impact and MLW as Killer Cross. But as far as I know, he's only had someone actually legitimately murdered as the White Rabbit.
That you know of.
That I know of. During a program. I don't know what he does off the shows, but during a show, he's only actually murdered or had murdered someone.
Yeah, we should probably go down a list of his former opponents and see if they're all still alive.
Well, he did put
Paulie. How's he doing?
He put Paulie in a neck brace, right?
Paulie Culver? Yeah.
Paulie Culver.
Was in the hospital for a while, and he's a Cleveland homie too. That was kind of rude. As much as I love Kevin, it's come on, man. Why you gotta hurt my homies from Cleveland? So anything else you guys want to talk about Lucha? Because there's some other wrestling I want to talk about. I mean, we have another 100 episodes where we can talk about Lucha.
The season's still settling in. It's getting its wheels now.
I want to say that I am on the Antonio. What do you think, me? If I am purely without irony on the Antonio Cueto bandwagon, I'm all aboard.
You're behind it now. Are you one of these flat earthers or flat Darioers that believes that Dario is still alive or that somehow Antonio is Dario?
I kind of think that Dario is still alive, but I've sort of lost interest in a conspiracy theory because I love how they're using. I love what they're doing with Antonio Cueto. I think it's just the right amount. I think it fits right in with. There's just a certain level of cheesiness in pro wrestling and in cultish type movies, and this is very much like that. And I think it fits in, and I think it's appropriate. And I think I've gotten to know the personality of Antonio enough to kind of get it.
Okay. I'm still kind of up in the air. I'll be honest. Like, I'm feeling it now, but I'm halfway feeling it because of how much we're selling it. You know, like just Casey coming in and doing his impression and kind of us talking about it. And the fact that the shock of Antonio has worn off because of being at the tapings, where I feel like for people who are just seeing it on TV now, they're still getting used to it more than the rest of us. But I missed the Dario character. I liked.
Yeah.
I feel like Antonio is stronger. He's a better heel. He's a more powerful character. But some of those weaknesses and flaws in Dario really sold it for me. And him coming out and messing up a promo. Like when Antonio messes up a promo, it's not fun. It's not funny. You don't laugh at Papa Cueto. Like you just don't. He just works it out and eventually says his thing and then goes away. Now, when it was Dario, you could totally fuck with him, and it was funny because then he would get all flustered and mad, and then he would try to have you murdered in the middle of the night. You know, he was a little more Fredo, and now we're dealing with a little more of the Godfather. So it's interesting. Now, overall, I'm curious because a lot of people, you know, I was reading the message board at El Rey, and there were some good comments on there, and Gabe Daigle, Lucha Gringo, he had some really strong words for them about how badly they fucked up with the hiatus. And it was really not directed at the producers of the show, but it was really directed at the network. And that's who I guess deserves to have it directed at them. The hiatus, and he said it best in Gabe's words, caused irreparable damage to the product. And it's a shame because I don't feel like with what DJ was given to work with Roach and the writers, what they were given to work with this season, and what they've been pulling off is pretty incredible. Like, I think the vignettes so far are actually better this year. I think not going outside, but having this space where they could create sets and do smaller things, has been better. So it's like they do a whole scene in just one tight little room, and they get more creative, and I like it. So, you know, I think Gabe's words were very poignant though, because he's a huge mark for Lucha Underground. He really loves the product, but people on that message board are having trouble buying in at this point. And I think it's because of the continuity and flow of things. It feels a little disjointed. It feels like there was a stop and a restart. It's not as seamless as everyone wants it to be. But the shit that they're doing is so fucking good. It's like, how is there a way to erase the past and enjoy Lucha Underground for what it is right now? There's always going to be a stigma associated with it, trying to live up to the glory that everyone thought it presented in the past.
I mean, I fully appreciate and understand and believe in what Gabe said, but I also know that Eric EV-Dub has told us that, like, that break was part of that break was laying a strong foundation. Like, the first 3 seasons weren't sustainable in how they were moving. They're almost like a pilot 3 seasons, and when the show got up and running again, it would be in a sustainable format. And so for me, I'm optimistic, and I treat it like something that is consistent because I think it will be consistent. But some people need to see it proven, and I think we're in 4. And when you see how 4 goes, and then it goes into 5, I think you'll.
But is it going to go into 5?
I think so.
I mean, or is there going to be another weird ass fucking break? I mean, it's all they're not filming yet. There's no announcement about filming. I've heard everything from same time next year as it was this year to, maybe we'll have it up and running again by September or October.
Yeah, I've heard the maybe this fall. I've heard that stuff, but to me, I think that's wishful thinking. I think that's a bonus if it happens. I think realistically, if they're not filming by March, that window next year,
Eric Van Wagenen has never said to me anything about this fall. He has said that he would love if that happened, but he's never led me to believe that that's something that's a possibility. Now, other people who are pretty high up in the company, I have heard say that before. And I've heard a lot of people who are in the know say that they think it's going to come back this fall. But Eric has never been one of those, just for the record, from my knowledge.
There's a lot to it. You got to find a building, or you got to get the building. And I heard on another podcast, someone said season 5 is happening and they have an even better building. And that's the only time I ever heard about that. And who knows if it's even, if it's too early to even confirm that rumor in the first place. But I know, I'm pretty confident that 5 will happen because 4 happened and it went well and they wanted more. And, if it happens for the money that they want to spend, they're going to keep making original content that has a fan base for El Rey. That makes sense to me. And I think it's going to be spring. If it's not March or April, it'll be April or something like that, or February. But that's when my panic switch happens, is when they're not ready to do it then. If it's another delay from consistently shooting spring and airing for the rest of the year, and then shoot the next spring and air the rest of the year, I think that's a good baseline. If they want to do spring and they want to do fall and then want to do spring again, I think they could do that, but they still got to get their shit together. There's a lot to get their shit together, to have a routine schedule, to have your crew block off their time, because with that long break, your crew's working other jobs. You got to find new ones, or you got to get these guys to say, all right, I'll commit to you now on a consistent basis in March and in September.
Yes, I agree with you, Rebecca, that Godfrey, Agent Winter, is the reason that Papa Cueto knows that Cortez Castro was a cop. Antonio is a real G. He's a real godfather. He knows what the fuck's going on. You're not going to pull some secret I'm a cop shit on Antonio Cueto. The other thing that I think is interesting, the more I watch Impact and the way they're kind of dealing with things now in the Don Callis era, Lucha Underground really could tour, but why? They have something that Impact doesn't have, which is they have a really good home audience. I can't tell you how different the last few weeks of Impact have been while they were filming in Canada compared to the batch that came right before that was in the Impact zone. God damn it. They should never, ever go back to that fucking Impact zone ever again. The crowd there fucking sucks. And these Canadian crowds were live, and the Canadian crowds made me believe in Impact. It's amazing. Oh, yeah, Krabs. Lucha Underground has better crowds than Impact sometimes. These Canadian crowds were just as loud at the Temple, especially at Slammiversary.
Slammiversary was great.
Lit.
Makes all the difference to have that energy. I agree with you 100%. But also, what do you think about this? Since they're working together so much and they did that one show together, I mean, what do you think about Impact going on tour, Lucha Underground doing like 3 matches on it, doing a partial show, so that way they don't have to have the logistics of running a tour, but they can supply talent under their brand. They get to put a banner up.
But that's without the Lucha Underground booking, without Krista Joseph writing it.
Yeah,
I think In Vivo proved, the difference between Austin Warfare and the Lucha Underground In Vivo, the 4 times that Lucha Underground has been on the road, is a huge difference. And if you see what they did with the Austin Warfare thing, they were teasing the whole Mundo versus A thing that happened later in the Lucha Underground season. And they were doing it way ahead of time when they did Austin Warfare. And it was good. You take your 2 biggest stars, and you let them go out there and promote. The stuff they did with In Vivo, even though Chris was there and everything, was just more reactionary. It was very much like AAA, to tell you the truth. Just throw our guys out there, put some names against each other, make the poster look good, and have a show. And if we change some of the booking at the last minute, who cares? You know, some of your favorite people were still there. Fuck it. But I think just putting them on Impact, and it's weird too, because if you look at the way the crossover of talent has worked so far, that Eric explained on this very show in our formerly highest rated episode ever, that has now been dwarfed by Sunny Kiss, aka Exolicious. So the way that this talent exchange worked was Lucha Underground gets plugged and acknowledged in the greater wrestling pantheon of companies that exist. I think you need that acknowledgement. It helps legitimize Lucha Underground as a wrestling promotion. The problem, however, is they're not actually a wrestling promotion. So the way it gets reciprocated with Lucha Underground using these talents from other places or doing it there, like they can't ever really acknowledge it the same way because it doesn't make sense in their universe. Like in the Lucha Underground universe, does Impact exist? I mean,
well, I think
Stryker makes some references to that. Oh, this guy's wrestled around the world or fought around the world, but it's still more like it's a plot point in a Bruce Lee movie about an underground tournament than it is an acknowledgement of competing promotions. You know what I mean?
I think they're, I know what you mean. Mundo has referenced that if he doesn't get what he wants from Dario in past seasons, he'll take the belt and go to another underground fighting league or something. I think the concept of Impact could exist. I think if you're going to explain on Lucha Underground why their guys are on Impact, I think that's weird.
I'd like to see some bigger crossover. I just don't know if it's possible. I also think that part of the reason the crossover happened was more, I hate to say this, but almost more a little bit of acknowledgement of defeat by Lucha Underground. Of more of them saying, look, guys, when we started doing this, we thought we were going to be like another promotion. But at the same time, like, we're just happy that we exist and we're going to let our guys do some other stuff. And, you know, if they can carry the name and the gospel of Lucha out there further than we could, that's great. But I do feel like it was a little bit an admission of guilt, or, you know, a little bit of like, yeah, we can't pull off live shows. We can't keep our guys employed year round. We do want more people to know about us. And at this point, it can't hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that sucks a little bit because I wanted to believe in the more grandiose vision that they initially had, you know, the EVW plan that is what I call it now, of touring in the off season, doing, you know, 40 episodes a season and touring in the off season, and this thing where Lucha Underground became like ECW was in the mid 90s.
I would love to do that.
Not that
how amazing though would it be? And they still could do it because you just have to write it. Like,
but it's never
that's all it is.
It's never going to happen. This 3 company system that they have makes it
They'll
impossible.
Yeah. But if it would be amazing if they could film their season and then DJ and Roach could write loose stories for their house shows, depending on where they were in the season.
But for it to happen, the problem is, for it to really happen, Eric Van Wagenen would basically have to be Eric Bischoff.
Yeah.
With Mark Burnett being his Ted Turner. And they would have to be doing it as a show they were selling to a TV network, as opposed to a show that was being made in conjunction with a TV network. Basically, Factory Made would have to go out. El Rey would have to go bye-bye. Lucha Libre FMV would have to bow down to MGM. Like, the whole power structure would have to change. And also, I don't think Eric Van Wagenen wants that job. I don't think he has any desire to be Eric Bischoff. He's a fan of wrestling, but he's not the same kind of mark that Bischoff was. You know?
Yeah.
If Hogan came around with the same shit that he fed Eric Bischoff, EVW would probably tell him to fuck himself. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I also think
the best thing they could do.
Yeah.
Would be like, okay, it's gonna sound weird because they obviously they've not done anything here, but do like they did with like the one-off events, but just do it. You know what I mean? Just here, one there.
Just one-off events.
Yeah, just do but make it something big. So like after the season's finished, big event, and like I don't know because I don't know any venues where you guys are, but do it at a decent-ish venue. Nothing like not saying MGM, but
No, but that's
MGM,
what that was the original EV Dub plan. When I talked to EV Dub about 2 years ago, his idea was hitting those mid-sized 1,000 to 2,000 seater type venues, those Hammerstein ballroom type venues, nothing probably above a 5,000 seater. Hitting those places, doing like a little house show run, like not just going and doing one show, but setting up and doing a Friday and a Saturday show or something, like 2 nights where everybody could come to town and could work, where they could do tryouts from local talent, where they could, have some storylines that played out off camera, or maybe even film some of it, and put it into the season or a special or something, but then just do one of those a month and make sure that their guys were working and staying relative and that everyone was working towards the season, and then still let everybody else take their bookings.
I think they went into the other markets. So like they started showing it in France. They started showing it in Germany. Now they did run a weird show alongside a company in Germany.
Yeah.
With a few guys from Lucha Underground. But if they'd gone like I'm not being because it's TV. You put on a show in Germany, which is just purely Lucha Underground, of the local, hookups and everything to get the word out. So you actually get a decent attendance. But you put that for the weekend of the first episode airing in Germany. That promotion wise is like what you want to do. I'm not like in the UK, people want to follow it, but I have to go searching around the net for like a day to get it. But the product isn't here. If you know what I mean, there's no base for the product whatsoever. So even if it was on Netflix here, it wouldn't be as big as it could be because it just doesn't feel like it's anything. If you know what I mean, it doesn't have a physical like embodiment. So like we have the wrestlers come over to wrestle randomly, but if they did, like just went right, you know what, we're gonna do the Royal Albert Hall for instance, like AAA did a couple of years ago. You Lucha Underground does the Royal Albert Hall the weekend before the first series airs to get the kind of everybody amped up, or like the first episode airs and then they do it.
Well, and honestly, that is probably the only hope for any type of touring thing now is that the PR departments at El Rey and MGM would get behind it enough to do something like that. But I don't think that they could show significant enough gains in ratings by doing that to justify the amount of money expended on the production, especially if they're not taping it. So then you have to ask yourself who's paying for it. And the problem is everyone wants Lucha Libre FMV to pay for that because that's who'd be the one who would benefit from it. It's not going to make huge numbers of ratings increase. It's going to cost more than it would to produce an episode of the show itself. So, and
my thing is if they want to grow the product, if they want to like promote the product and actually make the product a bigger thing, so therefore they can start, being
right. But who is going to do that?
Yeah.
The only branch of this that can do that is Lucha Libre FMV, because if you look at the pay structure, El Rey Network makes money by selling commercials. If they're doing a live event or involved in a live event, there's no commercials there. They make no money. MGM gets paid a flat fee per episode to make the show. So if they're out there promoting and doing a live event, they're not getting paid. To my knowledge, I don't think EV Dub or DJ or any of those guys got paid for Lucha in Vivo. I think they just went and did it. The talent got paid, And maybe they gave themselves some booking fees or something like that, but they didn't get their normal TV checks. That's for damn sure. And then, so if somebody does it, Lucha Libre FMV, who is Dorian Roldan, if you don't know, and his investors, they would make the money from the live ticket sales. They make the money from merch. Yeah. They make money from however the characters are monetized because they own the intellectual property and they are the partner that could do that. They could promote a tour tomorrow. Whatever the tickets sell at the gate, they would get. And it would be smart because it would raise the exposure and hopefully bring some of that back to TV, which would keep the longevity of the overall product going and then hopefully sell more. And it's a big cycle that keeps going and feeding into itself. But they have to be the ones to start it. Dorian is the only one in this process that can make that happen because he is the only one that financially could capitalize on it. No one else can justify doing it.
I also think that,
and we like they can't be bothered.
What's that mean?
That's my problem with Lucha Underground. My problem with Lucha Underground, especially since the hiatus and going back to the Gabes kind of thing, was it doesn't feel like. I mean, the guys who are working there, they want it to succeed, you know? But it doesn't feel like the people who should be wanting it to succeed, the people who are making it, who can make money from selling TV rights or selling merchandise.
But this has been the problem with Lucha Libre.
Those guys don't seem to want to do it.
No, but it's not.
They don't want to seem to pull.
It's not just them. It's not just Dorian. This is Lucha Libre, period. Lucha Libre is handled differently than the WWE. And it always has been. I mean, they run shows for ticket sales at the gate. They are like trying to sell concessions. They're like the Clippers in the early 2000s. They're horrible, and it doesn't matter as long as they put butts in seats. They're not trying to make a good product. They're just trying to keep making a product all the time. And CMLL does the same thing. Not as bad as AAA, not by any stretch of the imagination. But all those companies, MDA, AAA, CMLL, all of them, there is a different mentality behind it. And I don't know why. I've never understood it. I've felt like Lucha Libre in general has always been short-sighted, and everyone is only worried about the gate at next week's show. You know, and then they have these shows all the time that bomb. All the promotions do. They'll have a show here or there that are just fucking bomb. Turnout's bad, or they picked the wrong night, or somebody else was running a show and they didn't even know about it because shows pop up or change all the goddamn time. And they all run the same freaking venues. So maybe, you know, a hot show was in town the week before. You come with a lamer show the next week, you get fucking killed. It's just so short-sighted. But that's, you know, you're looking to a guy who runs a company like that to come up with these bigger answers for a major marketing coup, and it is a problem. You know, it was part of the problem with WCW too, and it's the problem with pretty much everybody who's not Vince McMahon, is that to do it the right way, you have to have a singular vision and a singular power structure of control, because if all sides can't get that money, can't capitalize on the money that's available there, then they have no reason to do it. And that's part of the problem.
Well, I think what makes WWE such a strong global brand is that they don't care about what's in the ring. A lot of the people who run it are, you know, they're big fans of wrestling, and they love, you know, the history of wrestling. They love the good matches, and they appreciate that, and they take pride in that. That's not what they do for a living. You make the characters and that sell T-shirts. You give Randy Orton the RKO, which everyone shows up. They want to see Randy Orton show up and throw the RKO, and they want to see the entrance. You want to see John Cena say his catchphrases. But the kids don't show up and make their dads buy them or moms buy them T-shirts because they want to see a 4 or 5 star John Cena match. They want to see John Cena. They want to hear him say something, and then, you know, hit a signature move. And I think everywhere else, they focus more on the in-ring product. And that's the kind of show that I prefer, but that's not such a universally translated show that is more like, going back to the roots of being a carny type of thing. You know, they're a traveling circus. They put on the show. You have the fireworks, so you have the things and the bright lights, and
right. But also the money. They don't have to have any one part of WWE be the most successful part, because all the money flows in the same direction. It all funnels together, and all they want to do is keep all of it going. They want to keep as many shows on the air, making ad revenue so their TV deals are good as possible, which is why Raw is still 3 hours, because everybody at the company wants it to be shorter now. Can't do it because it changes the flow of the money, and they're a public company now.
Yeah.
T-shirts, they keep coming in. So we create stars that sell T-shirts. Even if they don't get over on TV, doesn't matter how bad Bailey is on television right now, guys. Doesn't matter. She still sells like the foremost merchandise in the company right now. So she's going to fucking be on TV. Period. You know what I mean? Roman Reigns, as far as Vince McMahon knows, Roman Reigns is one of his biggest stars because that dude sells more fucking merch than anybody. Don't ask me how or why, but he does.
That's a whole nother conversation. I believe he's one of the bigger stars they have. I just think that whatever.
He's a huge star. Doesn't matter. But my point is the money all flows together. But with Lucha Underground, the money doesn't flow into the same pools. It doesn't flow into the same pot. So every person who is powerful in the whole process, you got Robert Rodriguez is making his money from one place. Mark Burnett's making his money from one place. Dorian Roldan's making his money from one place. And they're not together. They're never going to be, because their money doesn't come from the same place. The second they all make the same money is the second you will see those guys agreeing on a real direction for Lucha Underground.
Yeah, well, it just boils down to an identity crisis for Lucha Underground, and that's been holding them back. And they got to get their act together. They just, to be honest and blunt, they have to get their act together with that. And I think this season 4, I think they've gotten pretty close to it. Their TV show.
The stories act as together. The TV shows act as together. The talents act as together. Dorian's merchandising is more together. The network's promotion is more together, but they're still doing it all separately. And that's what I'm saying about the talent exchange and the way that the talent contracts went down. It's an admission of guilt. It's all of them going, look, we're honorable people. We're not trying to screw people over, even including Dorian. For better or for worse, when it comes to Lucha Underground, he did right by almost everyone this year. But the whole point is they know that they are not on the same page. After the hiatus, I think the hiatus damaged them too. They all know. Dorian, as you can tell from AAA right now, Dorian went back to AAA and realized some things needed to change there. He started putting his eggs back in that basket. And part of the problems with AAA a couple years ago was because he had so many eggs in the Lucha Underground basket that he was like, fuck AAA. But as you've seen over the last 7 or 8 months, Dorian has put a lot more focus back in over there. He's bringing people back in. He's letting things happen. He's bringing Conan back. He's understanding why AAA is important, because that is more of his moneymaker than Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
That's where his hopes and his future are. It's not in Lucha Underground anymore. He's seen the fallibility of that product and the fact that its longevity could be snuffed out at any point in time. So now he's got to focus on something that has a legacy and a history that can't be snuffed out. It's got a different economic flow to it, and the money train at AAA can't stop because too many people would suffer. Whereas with Lucha Underground, it can disappear tomorrow, and he knows that.
It's a TV show.
And Eric and DJ, they realized too. I mean, some of those guys, the production crew, were sitting around without jobs for a while because of that holdup. And they're sitting there like, if there's no TV show, if they're not making episodes, guess what, guys? They're not getting paid. They don't draw a year-round salary for Lucha Underground. Krista Joseph is not making Lucha Underground money right now. Doesn't mean he's not coming up with what the next great thing for it is, but he's doing it pro bono. Until they say, hey, here's a green light and there's some more episodes. His paychecks are gone, y'all. He's not the showrunner right now because there's no show to run in the offseason. There's nothing. Bischoff ran his shit year round. Vince runs his shit year round. The Ring of Honor guys run their shit year round. Don Callis works for TNA year round.
Mm-hmm.
Krista Joseph works for Lucha Underground part-time. Chris Roach works for Lucha Underground part-time. Eric Van Ragnan pretty much works for MGM full-time, but he's doing other shows for them. He's not doing Lucha Underground right now. That's the problem. But whatever. Doesn't matter. I mean, it is what it is, and it's still bringing all those great people together, bringing Dorian with all his access to these great Lucha Libre performers, bringing Chris DeJoseph and Chris Roach in with their awesome writing skills, bringing Eric Van Wagen in with his TV production style, bringing Robert Rodriguez with his grindhouse philosophy, who brought Skip Chasen in for his directing. Bringing all those people together is amazing. And this weird power and money structure might be the only way something like that ever happens. But at the same time, everyone at this point has to acknowledge the flaws, because I think they have acknowledged the flaws. I'm going to stop ranting about it because I want to talk about Impact, believe it or not.
All right, can I lead the Impact thing? I took notes.
Go for it. What are you talking about first? You're talking about
Slammiversary. Let's talk about Slammiversary.
All right.
And I took sort of match by match notes, and then we can go match by match and see if we can buzz round, lightning round this. First of all, what
Zack Sabre Jr. sucks.
We're not there yet, and he doesn't. He's one of the best. So first of all, production was.
First of all, Zack Sabre Jr. is completely unconvincing as a professional wrestler.
Well, I mean, if your eyes are closed and you're watching a different show, then I guess you might come up with that opinion. Summerversary. So everything. I mean,
like, if you really want to see a pussy fight, I guess you would pay money to see Zack Sabre Jr.
He would totally kick your ass in a fight.
Okay. Really?
Okay.
Really?
So, like, to prove something, he could totally beat up a tough guy in a fight. You know what I mean?
Okay. First of all,
I've seen him in person.
This is my problem. This is my problem with Zack Sabre Jr. All right, smaller guys out there. I'm not even saying that I have an issue with smaller guys like Desmond Xavier, who we were talking about before. Me and Desmond Xavier in a street fight. I think he'd probably take me. I'll get in some licks, but he'll probably take me. Makes him credible, in my opinion. Zack Sabre Jr., bring him to my house right now. I'm fucking 15 years older than him. He's a professional athlete, and I will give him that. He's a professional athlete, and I am an old man. But with my limited amount of martial arts skill and my ability to be a tough guy on occasion, I believe that I would put Zack Sabre Jr. in the fucking ground.
But you wouldn't. But I also want to point out that Desmond Xavier has done a remarkable job in being given nothing in Lucha Underground. No vignettes, just nothing. And he went in the ring, did 2 matches, maybe 2.5, and he's one of everyone now. Like, he's already proved himself 10 times over, and everyone loves him. Like that, he's awesome, and he's done some amazing stuff in those matches.
Gabe is in the chat room. Gabe, I don't know if you were here at the beginning of the show, but I actually talked about you quite a bit and your post from the message board on the El Rey network thing there. So go back and listen to that at some point if you didn't hear it already, because you got mentioned on the show already.
Yeah. So back to Slammiversary.
I'm gonna finish my Zack Sabre Jr. thing, and then later I'm gonna let you talk about G1 and why he's so good. But at the same time, okay, Byron, I believe a guy like Kevin Cross would whoop a regular guy like me's ass, right?
Yeah.
You believe he would beat me up?
That's old school wrestling mentality of your champion has to be a guy who would win in a bar fight.
TJP. Do you think TJP could beat me up?
No, I mean, I think he would cry if he looked at you. He sucks.
No, come on. Like, if I really got under the kid's skin and me and him went toe to toe, you think he'd have a chance to beat me up?
No, I think he's a dork, and I think he sucks as a wrestler too.
Okay.
He seems like a stabber. You know,
I think I read somewhere on Twitter, this wasn't a report of something he's done, but it was just someone's opinion of him. Basically, they thought that he looked like the type of guy who'd go to gaming conventions and hit on underage girls.
Okay.
So that's just the impression.
How about AJ Styles?
AJ strikes me as a pro wrestler. He seems like a phenomenal. Oh God, he is an incredible athlete.
He's from Georgia.
I'm saying in Georgia. The street fight, in a fucking man-up street fight, do you think that AJ Styles would beat me up? It's just an honest question, and there's a reason why I'm asking. Just give me your honest opinion.
I think I mean, I agree with what Meef is saying. Like, he's a good old Southern boy, and he's a strong one. So I think he would be able to hold himself.
Okay, so you're saying Country Strong gives him the believability that he could beat up a guy like me in a street fight.
Yeah,
that's
He can, like,
it's a great answer.
with it or something, you know.
It's a great answer. And I actually randomly met AJ Styles in the middle of the woods once before.
I don't think he would actually ever. I don't think 9 times out of 10, I think he would find a way to not fight. He seems like in real life he's.
Yeah.
All right. What about Famous B? You think Famous B would beat me up in a street fight?
Famous B would slap you silly.
Yeah, I might could get in a couple licks, but I think Famous B would probably take me. But my whole point is, and now, do you really think that Zack Sabre Jr. would beat me up in a street fight?
I think
it will beat Byron up.
Easy. Now it's a whole different conversation.
But what
I think
Zach, I think he's of wrestling. I'm not saying
I think
that
he's very legitimate in his submission fighting.
I'll put it into one thing for you, right? Angelico and Zack Sabre Jr. same build. Good. I mean, Angelico, I've seen them both wrestle actually each other. So they're both the same person in terms of build and wrestling style, in terms of like when they can do the mat work and submission work. Angelico's amazing at it. Teacher. Right? Out of those two, who fucking kicks your ass?
I mean,
it's Angelico.
Yeah.
It's not Zack Sabre Jr.
Not even partially Zack Sabre Jr. But Angelico has a little bit of that, like, surfer, you touched my board, I'm going to kick your ass to protect my territory kind of thing going on. You know? Yeah. And this is all I'm saying, Byron. I'm not saying that every guy in wrestling has to be the toughest guy out there. You know what I'm saying? You know, every wrestler is not fucking Masato Tanaka. But at the same time, for me to enjoy it, a certain level of believability, if I'm giving you my suspension of disbelief that you are in a physical contest of overpowering another human being, there has to be a certain level of credibility and believability to that, or it has to be gimmicked a la Ellsworth the right way, you know, or Masquerita or something. Like, it has to be gimmicked the right way for me to believe it. You've got to create the suspension of disbelief. Just because Zack Sabre Jr. can get in there and throw these crazy holds and slide all around somebody does not mean that he's going to put asses in seats. And for you guys that enjoy him and that buy his merch and go out there and go to his matches and enjoy it, God bless you. And I'm glad that you like him. I'm glad that he's making money. I don't wish ill on any performer that's out there risking their body and putting themselves on the line for our entertainment. I don't wish the guy ill at all. But for me, I find him as a wrestler to be thoroughly unbelievable. His demeanor,
that's the main point.
The way that he looks in the ring, the way he starts matches off to, there's no level of physical intimidation whatsoever. So by the end of the match, when he's tying dudes up in fucking knots and doing his weird shit, I don't give a fuck. It doesn't make any sense to me. It just is like, okay, so the guy knows how to do some stuff. He should be in Cirque du Soleil, not a fucking pro wrestling ring.
No, that's Ricochet.
No, Ricochet is more physically intimidating to me than Zack Sabre Jr.
No, but he does the flips. Zack Sabre Jr. doesn't do any flips.
I didn't say anything about flips. I said tying people up in knots. I didn't say flips. I said flips on Twitter earlier.
Cirque du Soleil, I don't know.
Cirque du Soleil has people who crawl in and out of holes and do acrobatic type stuff, things with their body, and contortionists. They're not all fucking flippy guys in Cirque du Soleil either. You're stereotyping, Byron.
I am.
Cirque du Soleil. Jesus
Christ. Yeah, they're a bunch of flippy marks.
I'm saying that his athletic ability being represented as a world-class fighter that should be able to take on, you know, even a cruiserweight, you know, type guy or intercontinental level type. No, I don't buy it. I just don't buy Zack Sabre Jr. Now, show me some of the matches. We'll talk about it. We'll finish the conversation next week. You say that there's some great stuff he's done in the G1. I'm not caught up on G1 right now. I promise everyone I will watch, and then for the next episode we can continue the debate, and I'll see if I've changed my fucking mind. Is that fair?
I think that's fair. I think. Hold on, me. If I think this G1 has been, I think a lot of New Japan wrestlers have gotten like their new character refresher on this G1.
Just don't say Switchblade.
I love Switchblade. I love what he's doing.
No, shut up. Weren't you fucking bagging on Switchblade after Wrestle Kingdom?
Well, he's been a work in progress, and he fucking showed up at the G1. It's like they had this new direction. They had to finish the program with Juice, and then now he's off doing his thing, and everything he's doing in the G1 is great. And I think Zack Sabre
Juice,
Jr.
he's in Japan. Can he just fucking hit the roids already and do something about that fucking dad bod?
Juice is jacked.
No, I'm saying Jay.
Jay?
Yeah.
Who's I'm so lost.
Look.
Jay White?
Yes.
You think Jay White has a dad? Who do you think Jay White is? Don Callis is the announcer. Do you think Jay White is one of the announcers? Kevin Kelly?
No. Don Callis could use a little bit of the juice these days too, though his new haircut is certainly better.
I want to say though, my biggest notice anniversary since someone here brought up Don Callis is how sharp he looked and how he was positioned sitting at the table in front of Josh Matthews and never once looked at him when he talked to him. That must have been the best part of his job. To never have to look at Josh Matthews or acknowledge he was there. Anyway, it's just there's a lot of wrestlers, a lot of characters really getting development. Even like Yoshihashi is like way more interesting. He's still Yoshihashi and he still sucks, but he's a much better, more motivated Yoshihashi in this G1 than he's been, when they used to call him the Loose Explosion. But and like Toru Yano is like, he's trying to be a legitimate amateur wrestler. He's trying to be the Zack Sabre Jr., but all he does is he wants to cheat. And so that's a great story in every single match. It's awesome. Hit the highlight of his things was when he finally, he was against Suzuki and the ref was down because the ref interference is insane. And he went for a low blow and Suzuki closed his knees, stopped him, laughed his very scary cackle, and then immediately picked him up and pile drived him and beat him. It was great. But you have that everyone has something they're doing besides trying to win the tournament. And Zack Sabre Jr.
Which is good. I mean, do you remember 2 years ago? It was early on the show. We were still just doing the audio version when we were talking about G1 and we were talking about how it was going to lead into Wrestle Kingdom. And pretty much was super obvious. Like the same feuds were going to continue coming out of it. Yeah. Like nothing new happened out of it, except Kenny Omega got elevated a little bit at the time.
Yeah, they're pretty much working him into the top four,
but that was it. That was it. Yeah, it was like the entire thing just existed for that.
Yeah. Now everyone is doing something.
Years later, that it's really what you were more looking for back then. That it's actually finally the moment of the year in New Japan where they're actually like building these new relationships and these new feuds so that they can go somewhere different by the time Wrestle Kingdom happens.
Yeah, I think this is incredible. This is what they always should have done because you have so much going on. You even have Okada. He doesn't have the belt. He doesn't have his reign anymore. But there's something to talk about with him that's more interesting now than Okada as champ. Now he has the pants, he has pink hair, he walks out with balloons.
The haircut did throw me for a loop, I'm not gonna lie.
It's amazing. His theme changed a little bit. He yells Scooby Dooby Doo when he does a flying body press. When he walks past the announcers and Rocky Romero is standing up to high five him, Okada just bashes him with balloons. That's his best friend.
Do you think he's having fun with it now that the pressure's off for a little bit?
He's having a lot of fun, and now everyone else that he fights gets to play off of it. You have like Maccabi, he's trying to have a tough fight, and he's looking at this lunatic with balloons, and he's just like looking at him in disgust, and he still is gonna lose to him because this guy is still better than him. Hangman Page said something that he wanted to face the real Okada, not Cocaine Kazoo. What? But even Hangman Page, and to a lesser extent Chase Owens, Chase Owens is legit, and I think if he got a better body, like a better physical presentation, then he'd represent himself as good as his in-ring talent. But Hangman Page is also getting a huge look. He's proving himself here, and it helps that Cody isn't in it. It helps that he, as far as Gaijins go, he's one of the top ones that's getting a look. But then you have Jay White as well. What he's doing now, he's doing something interesting. Now he's a switchblade character, and that's what's different than before. Like, he could tie his in-ring stuff together and work that along.
I hope for Jay White's own sake that he gets over really big this time.
He is.
I mean, he's been getting there. Like, I hope it keeps going for him, because I just don't think that any of that gimmick would work stateside if it wasn't connected to New Japan.
Can I just finish?
Yeah, jump in.
That was a great Slammiversary review.
We're gonna go back to it. We have to. All right. Is there anything else you want to say about New Japan, Byron, since we got into it?
Yeah. I mean, I think that I
know next time Casey's here. Casey has been talking about the G1 nonstop. He's all over it.
Yeah.
So next time he's here, we definitely have to go back into it, and hopefully I'll be caught up by then too.
So there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. Jay White is really finding those heelish things that are specific to the Japanese culture that he's healing out. Like, post matches, he'll take the ice pack away from his opponent, stuff like that. He's going against a lot of stuff. But then you have like Juice Robinson, who's cutting the best, the most Dusty Rhodes babyface promos of all time. And you watch his matches, right? But watch his promos, and you could see them in his matches. Like, as it goes on, he's this flamboyant asshole running around, and as it goes on, you see him more focused. He'll walk to the ring, and he's dressed like he's whatever. He's dressed like a fucking asshole bouncing around the ring. All right, and you're like, who the fuck is this guy? And then but lately I'm not caught up, but I've got to a point where I've heard him cut promos like, I need to start winning or I don't belong, and like, being an underdog isn't good enough. I have to start winning. I have to be at the level of the best, or I should just go home and fly to O'Hare and have my dad pick me up and sleep on the fucking couch. Like, it's like, you want to root for him, and he's being real about his stuff, and he's doing better in his matches, and he's participating with a broken left hand, which is the left hook is one of his strongest moves. And so he has this battle. Also, he's freshly the US champion. He has a lot going on, and I think he's doing amazing. And his contract is supposedly up, and people were saying WWE is interested, and he was on record saying he's never ever going back. And I don't know why he would. And so there's a lot going on. Yeah, I mean, and there's even more. Goto is still a fucking loser, and he's a never champ. He's never gonna win the big thing, but he's gonna put on some good matches, but no one's gonna give a fuck about him. There's this the OG Bullet Club, the Tongans are revolting. I think that's kind of cool. But in watching how it's going, like, Tama Tonga was my favorite before this started, and then he started talking, and I'm like, let's watch another bad luck match.
Oh, come on. See, I want to catch up now. All right.
Okay.
Hey,
before
we jump into Impact, I got to send shout outs to everyone who bought the MMMshow 100. 100! Who bought the shirt. Jason, Kevin, who I believe is 141. Joe, was that you, Joe? Byron bought a shirt.
Yeah, my shirt's at my parents' house.
Yes, in fact, we did get paid in pound for that one. It actually says it in pound profit.
That thing's been in the country for a week, and it's still not here.
Really? You still haven't gotten the actual shirt yet?
Yeah, no. It according to Teespring, it was like it got to the UK last Friday.
Dear Lord. Well, you do live in the middle of bumfuck, man. I mean, Joe lives way out in the fucking country.
I've had some weird shit because I had some masks come from Marco, and that said it landed like last Sunday, and then it did nothing until Friday, so I had to run to the post office to pick it up.
Good Lord.
There's been some problems with our international.
See, everyone thinks it'd be great to live in the English countryside, and this is what you get. You don't get your masks and your T-shirts. Though
Brexit.
I do believe that one of my shirts from out of the country made it into the country, except it's still on the other side of the country. Thanks, Juventud. Thanks. Thanks for the fucking shirt that's in Connecticut.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you give me that address. Next time I'm in New York, I'll get a car and I'll pay a visit.
Me and Hoovy still got to talk about that one. Give him his own seal of approval. Okay, who else am I thinking here? Paula gets a big shout out. Our man Paul, he gets a shout out. Casey and Jim. Hey, look at that. Me. Wendy, Adam, April. Lots of shirts were sold. Zachary. So to everyone who made this our most popular selling shirt ever, thank you. And for all the talent and friends that were on the actual episode and who have helped us out, I have a giant bag of shirts sitting here for you. So if you were one of those people and you're listening now, Paul London, Sunny Kiss, Thunder Rosa, Vinny, or we already talked to, send me your DM me your addresses that you want the shirt sent to, so I can get those mailed out sometime in the next 5 years, because I'm on the road all the time myself.
We'll give it to you at the next Lucha show.
Yeah, that's how you get it. Just let's make sure there is one. That's why we got shirts for EV Dub, DJ, and Roach too. Just make sure there actually is another Lucha Underground, and then you guys can get your shirts. We held their last batch of shirts for over a year.
Yeah. I think we were the reason they came back to air, that the season 4 started. They heard rumors we were going to give their shirts away.
I actually did give one of their shirts away, but we made it up to them. I gave the Roach shirt away, and then we had
Kevin's shirt away.
Yeah, I did that too.
Yeah.
But Roach has a very special limited edition one now for the St. Patrick's Day MMMshow shirt. Only a few people have. Anyway, let's talk Impact, and then let's get out of this thing. I'm going to talk a little UFC after that, but not a whole lot to say. But go, let's get some Impact happening.
Slammiversary. They had the.
So wait, did you hear about Conor McGregor's court date?
No.
He went to court, and all they did was give him a slap on the wrist. That was it. I mean, like, he got some minor misdemeanor, no time served, no public, no record for like all that shit with throwing the chair and like the Michael Chiesa shit and all that stuff. Now they left it open so that those people that he actually hurt can basically file suits against him, and I'm sure they will, and they'll probably win. But he got like the most minor. He pled guilty and got like the most minor thing ever out of the plea bargain. It's genius. So Conor McGregor is back and can fight again.
Good. He needs to, whatever. I get it. He's selling tickets and he's selling this brand. He's also selling whiskey.
Yeah. And Burger King. I mean, dude's going to be made out of money. But he needs a fight. I mean, like, if he wants to stay relevant, now's the time. It's been over a year since the Floyd Mayweather thing. Like, and a long time before that since an MMA fight. So if he wants to stay relevant, he's got to take some kind of fight. I don't care if it's another boxing fight or something. Like, if he just, like, look, even a Kardashian does something every now and then to stay in the fucking limelight.
Yeah, one of them gets pregnant for like a few months.
Or yeah, like Kim actually went and saw Donald Trump, and actually she probably got the most politically out of that guy his whole administration.
Why can't she go and just say, hey, why don't you stop separating families?
Whatever. Like,
imagine if she killed him. Can you imagine if she'd killed him? That's the best thing she could have done.
If she killed him, they would have made sure sure they had cameras there.
She actually accomplished getting him behind whatever her little cause was when she was there. That seemed like a nice, dandy thing. So maybe what we all need to do as Americans now is lobby Kim Kardashian with our complaints and our issues and our good causes, and then she can take them to the president and they can be appropriately addressed. Maybe that is the new form of politics in America.
Did he pay her to have sex with her?
No, I don't.
Probably has though in the past.
Is that yeah? Is that the other women he like?
That's what she and like Paris Hilton used to do before.
Yeah,
they got
but
famous.
he doesn't use his real name when he does that, so it's okay. Anyway,
Slammiversary. So
Slammiversary.
Don Callis looked sharp. I loved how he is positioned in the foreground.
But with the UFC, like I don't think that Conor McGregor is the one that's going to be fighting Khabib next. Do you think that he should fight Khabib next? Because there's other challengers out there. Because the Poirier Eddie Alvarez fight this week that Poirier won, I think puts Poirier right back in there, and he was calling him out. That would be
fell asleep.
That would be a great fight.
Are they going to announce a Khabib fight?
I mean, Khabib could fight a lot of guys. Ferguson's out with his leg thing right now, but I could see the Poirier fight being interesting. I would also
think Stipe is going to get a rematch? Or do you think that he's going to go back to his old job, flipping burgers in Cleveland?
No, he was a fireman. Actually, still is a fireman. So it wasn't his old job; it's his current job. He never quit being an actual working fireman.
So, like in Cleveland, you don't actually have to show up to work to be in that job.
If you're a union guy.
Oh, union, yeah, I get that. I work with the union.
It is that kind of town. It's that kind of town.
I'm not going to
say that every blue collar guy in Cleveland is a really hardworking guy, because some of them might not have to be.
On my flipping shows, we did one house with union workers, and I was the first one where we showed up one day, and it was like 100 people there, and like 5 of them working.
Look, I know a lot of union guys that really are hard-working guys that deserve every single thing. But I know a few of them that take advantage of the rules too.
I wish I had a union and belonged to one.
I need to move to America because your unions are different than here.
Yeah. Yes, they are. Especially in cities like Detroit and Cleveland and St. Louis and anywhere in New Jersey.
Hey, you see that body blow? What was it, last night or the night before? I'm forgetting the names because I don't know anything about MMA, but there was this incredible body blow that ended the match where they were in mid-ring throwing, and then one guy just went and like caught a guy right below their sternum, and the guy for a second was like, "I'm tough," and then after that he's like, "No, I'm not," and he went.
It might have been the Poirier Eddie Alvarez fight. I mean, that's kind of how that ended.
Oh, Eddie knocked him, right? Eddie threw the punch.
Well, no, Eddie. So what happened was Eddie was actually doing pretty good, and then he did this move with the 12-6 elbows. But even Poirier said it didn't hit him. It kind of like hit him on the shoulder, but because he had to move for it to hit him on the shoulder and not in the head, the ref kind of stopped things and stood them up. And from there, then Poirier got a couple body shots in and then just like peppered him with repeated left hands. And next thing you know, they're on the fence, and Poirier puts Eddie down and they stop the fight. So Dustin Poirier got the KO win, the TKO win. Great ending. And then Casey's favorite, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, fought the Tiny Tornado, Tisha Torres. That's a lot of T's, a lot of alliteration there. And Joanna Jędrzejczyk came back and was looking strong. And Jose Aldo also had a great fight. And then my boy Olivier Aubin-Mercier, he lost sadly in front of his hometown crowd. But anyway, it was a really good UFC. And finally, they gave Calgary and Fox a decent card, which was nice to see for a change with the UFC, because Calgary had gotten burned on their main event a few years back, and then it ended up being just a shit card. And then like all these Fox UFC events have, like, ever since the first one that had like a title match on it or whatever, have just been kind of lame. But this one was like a bunch of former champions or local heroes and like a really good card with really good fights.
I have a question for you. What is a 12? I know it's a rule that was enforced correctly, but what's a 12-6 elbow, and why is it a bad thing?
Well, especially, the rules for elbows have gone back and forth. Like states like Illinois for a while had no elbows at all. So even on the ground, you couldn't throw elbows, you couldn't throw elbow strikes, just no kind of elbow moves. They're
why is that?
Vicious. Because elbows it's harder, and the way they connect, especially in MMA compared to Muay Thai. Like with Muay Thai, you're throwing elbow strikes at distance, at range, and you have to swing into them. And they do cause a tremendous amount of impact. But the problem in MMA that a lot of people had was there's no recoil between your head being on the mat and an elbow. So you're just smashing head to face to floor and really compacting it in there, and you can lean down into it. Whereas with kickboxing or something, and you're standing and you throw an elbow, it's different. So people have been always up in the air with the whole elbows and MMA thing.
I read
the way the universal rules came down was you can do elbows to a grounded opponent, but the 12-6 elbow, where you're basically just dropping the hammer straight down from top to bottom, especially on the top of someone's head or to the back of someone's head, is completely illegal now. It's the form of elbow that is not allowed, because the impact of just smashing someone to bits like that is just not right. So that was the call, was that he was attempting to do one of those, so they stood him up and he lost his position.
That's interesting. I heard Bas Rutten say many years ago, and I can't give specifics, but he was promoting some fighting league or show he was a part of, and how he was promoting that they outlawed elbows because they cut too easily, and you stop fights when you bleed over the eyes.
They do, especially a lot in Muay Thai, where you can get those clinches and bring somebody in close, and then the whole thing that you're trying to do with your elbows, you're trying to take this point and you're trying to cut them, especially across the tighter spots in the forehead. Yeah. You're not even trying to really impact them and knock them out with an elbow. You're trying to cut them. That's the way they teach. That's the way I was taught elbows for kickboxing. Anyway, why are we talking about MMA, Byron? I thought you were going to tell us about Slammiversary.
No, I really like this body blow from Calgary. It was Aldo.
It was the Aldo match. Yeah, that was pretty vicious too.
Yeah, and he was crying afterwards. He came from behind, and he hit. I mean, it was like Brock getting kicked in the liver, where it didn't look like much, and then he crumbled.
Jeremy Stevens just can't catch a break.
Yeah,
but Aldo celebrating afterwards, the way he was crying and everything, it was like he thought he was never going to win a fight again. It's kind of amazing. Like, at first I felt kind of touched for him, and then I was like, you are bitchified. What happened to you? Like, you look like a guy who had absolutely zero faith in himself until this very moment. Like, no wonder you got your ass kicked by Conor McGregor.
Well, you look at his stats. It was his first non-title fight his first non-title fight win since June 2009. His first finish since 2013.
Yeah, I mean, he's been on a slump.
Yeah.
And mostly because of Conor McGregor. But
he has 2 losses to some guy named Max Holloway. That says it all.
The current featherweight champion.
I don't know who people are.
He's from Hawaii, bro. Anyway, Slammiversary. Tell me about Slammiversary. Tell me your thoughts, or do I have to get into it?
You sure?
Yeah, I want to talk about the Eddie Edwards thing. I want to talk about...
Yeah, okay. So first match was like a Nitro opener where you have the fast luchadors doing something quick and fast, except they had all mostly main eventers. You had Phoenix, you had Mundo, you had Petey Williams, and you had Tai Chi. You had Bullet. My brain isn't working.
The Japanese guy.
Ishimori.
Yeah, Ishimori, but what's I forgot his Bullet Club name.
Bone Soldier.
Bone Soldier. I don't know why I forgot
Bone
that.
Soldier?
Today. He's the Bone Soldier. And it was just it was off the wall. It was awesome. It was everything you wanted, and it was great. It could have
you know what's weird? I felt like it was as good as a AAA opening match, and I can't believe I'm saying that.
Yeah, but imagine that with like main eventers,
right? I almost halfway felt like those guys were like in Phoenix was like, "Fuck, all these kids in Mexico are making us look bad with opening matches. Let's have one here."
Yeah, like Phoenix and Mundo, like they're backstage at a AAA show. Anyway, so it was great. I really enjoyed how everyone got their shit in. They all got their finishes in, but they all did them once, and then it finished the match. So it made sense.
And I liked Mundo going over too. I liked how Mundo was selling for everyone. It seemed really, and we've seen him do this in the Lucha Underground before. This was the moment compared to his previous Impact run. I feel like, again, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying about Lucha Underground before, of like people know that it has a little bit of a limited shelf life, or it may not be the end all. I felt like this was the moment that Morrison, whatever you want to call him, Johnny Impact, Johnny Gimmick name, really took it to the next level on behalf of Impact. I feel like after seeing this match that he's really a part of their product now, that he actually cares about it, that it's not just a stopover, it's not just some holding area for him, that just like he did for those first 2 seasons, especially of Lucha Underground, he's going to put his focus into Impact now. I could be wrong, but something about this match just made me feel that way. Like he was showing out in a different way than he has on Impact before.
Well, in his promo on the next week's show on Impact, where he cut a promo, explained why he was gone. In that explanation, he put over Impact talent and said he's back to make, to do his thing and to get back. It's like, it was unnecessary.
But he didn't say that he was going to film Survivor.
Oh, is he on Survivor?
Yeah, that's why he was gone.
Johnny Goliath, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Is he? It's unconfirmed.
Johnny Survivor.
So
Johnny
that was great. The next match was Tessa and Allie, and I thought it was a great effort. It's the best that I've seen of Allie in Impact. It felt like an old school main event match with how they put it
but
together.
Tell me you weren't in tears listening to Don Callis call her her top rope crossbody or whatever she did from the apron to the floor. Did you hear him calling that spot? I mean, he was just like, it wasn't the best, but it was a great effort. Like,
yeah, it was like it didn't look great.
I mean, it wasn't like
it wasn't pretty, but it did something.
Did something.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said great effort. I think they put a lot into it, and I think that's the best I've seen Allie. I think, though, but to be quite honest,
really brought it out of her. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that who the worker was there, but the work was done, and it was done very, very well.
I think the video package they did into it was also really good. Yeah, I mean,
packages have been really good recently.
All of them on the show were great. But if you've seen Allie wrestle on Impact, she does better than what you would expect to see on, maybe WWE, even though they're getting better. But they don't let their female wrestlers really go at it like Impact always has. But she also isn't on the same level as a Tessa, as a Gail Kim, and
I just don't. She's been getting in a lot more time.
But she showed up.
Yeah.
I would say though, at the end, I think a more experienced wrestlers or more experienced whoever. I think the refs at Impact are non-existent and they suck. So many times they'll blatantly watch or see something like interference, and then they don't do anything, like try and find whatever. Anyway, but there was this one spot where they did
I'll agree with you too, by the way, because even though I know this is jumping the gun a little bit, the ref switch in the Penta Sammy match, you could it was painful. Like you had a ref who was barely calling the match, didn't know what to do or how to proceed, because they were obviously going to go with a more hardcore rules kind of style. Yeah. And he didn't know how to ref that kind of match, you could tell. But then you switch to this other ref at the end of the match, and he's doing the over exuberant, pointing out moves kind of thing and jumping up.
Charles Robinson.
Oh my God. But way more over the top than that. And it was first of all, both of those things suck. Second of all, putting them both in the same match, so you're showing the juxtaposition of two things that suck even more, just hurt my fucking head. Now we can go back, but just go to your point. Yes.
It got even worse on Impact too. So, but I think there's this one spot where they did a top.
Odie would be great at Impact. Has he ever done Impact?
I don't know.
Odie Brown? He'd be awesome there.
I know there. I know there.
Fucking Marty. He's not booked. He could go there. Odie could go there. I wouldn't want to see Borden go there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Borden would be good, but I mean, I don't know if you would. The SoCal refs are all good, and I think Marty would be great because he also knows half the rest. I mean, he could go there with Mundo and and do Mundo's matches.
Well, because Marty's not really a SoCal ref. I mean, he's more
No, he's
former WWE ref.
Yeah.
He'd be great over there.
But there was a top rope Rana where Tessa it was a little bit of a fumble, but it ended up looking vicious where Tessa dropped Ali right on her fucking head, and the whole crowd went, "Oh, like that's it." And I feel like that they should have called it on the fly, finished it there, especially when it turned out that that was the end of the match. Like they should have stopped it there and had that awesome finish.
Again, you need refs to do that, and you also need people like Gorilla to call that.
Because but I was watching them like that should have been finished. They kept going. All right, let's see what they got. All they did after that was
also they didn't sell long and hard enough either.
Yeah,
and which gives you the time to make those adjustments and those calls.
Yeah,
but it was good. It was a good match.
Yeah, just to finish that, all they had after that
on the whole card though, but a good match.
Probably it was still a good match. Yeah, all they did after that one move though was they had a trade finisher sequence, which. Like if they had something more, I'd say, okay, you had something more. But a trade finisher sequence.
Look, the moral of the story is I like Ali a little bit more, and I like Tessa a lot more than I did a month ago.
Right. Now, speaking of liking something. Oh, also, they did not do a post-match replay on the finish, which I feel is a little disrespectful.
Yeah, but I don't think they didn't really know how to.
Well, like you should show instant replay of the finish of the match before you go to the next segment.
Live broadcast, though, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Anyways, but so that's over with. They went to a Moose promo who was wearing the most pimp jacket. I need to get that. Moose continues to be, as far as I'm concerned, an unpolished diamond. I wrote that down, so that's why it sounds smart.
Nope.
Also,
I disagree, but we'll talk about it when we get to his match.
I think Moose is awesome. I think, though, I mean, he's super green. But I think he has a charisma about him.
Yeah, we'll see.
He looks like
Did you see his fucking
heads.
His corner drop kicks?
Look, I mean, do you want to talk about the Moose match now, or you want to keep going in order?
Let's get there.
I got things to say about Moose, but I mean,
let's get there. Let's get there. So now we have Dreamer and Eddie Edwards. This is the match where I started actually giving a shit. Like him and Sammy, I figured out who Eddie Edwards was. This is now I give a shit about Eddie Edwards. And I have a question for you, Mr. ECW. Can Tommy Dreamer cut a promo or be part of a promo, narrate a promo package that is not soaked in emotion, that brings you in and makes you give a shit about it? Can he do that and not bring you in?
I don't know that Tommy Dreamer has the ability to fail in the promo department anymore. He cut some weak sauce ones way, way early on in his career, but for pretty much the last 20 years, Tommy has been nothing but pitch perfect at pulling heartstrings and pulling you in. I mean, look, people give two shits about Eddie Edwards now. It was like first he got fucking popped in the head by Sami Callihan, and everyone was like, ooh, who was on the other end of that? Oh, it was this Eddie Edwards guy. And then people started knowing his name. Not that some people didn't know him before then, but a lot more people knew him after Sami Callihan accidentally bashed his fucking head in. You know? And then, of course, Sammy did a great job of healing out on them. And then I think that the booking over at TNA did the right thing, which was, fuck, this can only go so far. Like, I still don't think that they did the blow off between Sammy and Eddie the right way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they were correct in the fact that they had to figure a way out of it. And Tommy Dreamer was the perfect way to do that. None of the other mid-caliber kind of talent at Impact would have done that. I think the only other guy that they could have possibly gotten Eddie Edwards out of that feud the right way with would have been Eli. That would have been the only other option to me.
Yeah.
But thank God they had Tommy Dreamer because it's so much smoother and easier with Tommy. Tommy can do the best friend thing. Everyone hates it when someone turns on Tommy because he's being so altruistic and so blue collar, down to earth of like, bro, you just got to do this and we'll get him next time. Like Tommy was doing all the right shit at once. And then Eddie did the turn on it the right way and bringing his lady in did, totally helped as much as that's a complete McMahonism. Look, being honest, a lot of McMahonisms just work, and that one fucking worked. and the whole feud built great. And then, you know, the blow off is perfect. It's a hardcore match. It's Tommy Dreamer. It's a young guy who needs to make a name, bashing Tommy Dreamer with garbage cans. Can you go wrong?
It was great. They did all the, like, there's certain parts. This is a great card, great show, but there's certain parts where you can tell there's a veteran presence. Like, you have a Pentagon Sammy match. That's a good match, but it's not going to be super great because they're not like 30-year veterans, you know? So there's an argument over about psychology in wrestling matches, but it's a very fucking real thing. And you see it in this match. You see it where Tommy doused the table in lighter fluid, but he didn't get to light it.
No one, the crowd was so mad. They were still screaming for fire 3 matches later because of that.
That means no matter what, when Eddie gets the best of Tommy and Tommy passes a hardcore torch, the cane, to Eddie, right? Like, Eddie earned it. Eddie is the next guy, but Eddie's still a fucking asshole. And you remember that next time you see him. I don't like Eddie because he stopped the table from being lit.
Right. Exactly. It was perfect. Again, ring psychology, and well done. And I'm glad you said Kane, by the way, because Josh Matthews couldn't fucking figure out how to get that right. And I can't believe with Callis sitting right next to him, who didn't slap him in the head. The second he said stick, they referred to it as this kendo stick with Tommy Dreamer in the fucking ring. It's a Singapore cane when Tommy Dreamer's in the fucking ring, goddammit. I know it's a kendo stick. You know it's a kendo stick. But as soon as you take that little plastic guard off, and it's just the blank, it's a Singapore cane, goddammit. Remember your fucking wrestling history, Matthews, you stupid son of a bitch.
Hey, who's the Lucha Underground champion?
Oh,
you dumb motherfucker.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm expecting him to remember something that's an important piece of wrestling history from 20 years ago, and he can't even remember who the current champion at the, you know, tied-in promotion is, who's standing right in front of him. But whatever the fuck.
You could see why Callis was like, I'll sit next to Josh Matthews, but I have to be somehow in front of him so I never have to look at him. And
you know
I can't.
What, though? I think commentary has gotten so much better recently.
Yeah,
like,
Callis is a big part of that.
Callis must be sitting there just like every now and then just reaching over and grabbing his wrist so that Josh shuts the fuck up. Because Josh would over talk through a match, and Stryker does too, but like when Stryker does it, is at least over talking with things that are mostly factually correct or mildly interesting. Matthews does it, and it's just the same old wrestling nonsense that we've been hearing for 40 years, and not even a good version of it. So annoying.
Yeah.
Like, and I want to like Matthews because I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's trying to do a good job. But let me just say, it's a lot more enjoyable right now. He's better in a hot crowd because he tries to oversell when the crowd is down, and that's just stupid.
Yeah. Hot crowd makes everything better.
Hot crowd is so like his style is not a style that can go with a dead crowd because he is more like Stryker. He wants to be exuberant. He wants to be loud. He wants to be yelling at his microphone the whole time. And that just doesn't work when the impact zone's dead. Like, you hear Josh Matthews yelling at the top of his lungs for a women's match when the whole crowd is dead in the middle of Orlando in the summer heat, and it's just stupid. But whatever.
It's stupid. Okay, next match.
Go. Next match. What do you got?
Next match is Seidel and Cage, your third eye versus the Machine. I thought the promo was carried by Matt Seidel, and I think, you know, with Cage going over, it was good to let him shine. I thought it was okay. I think he did pretty good.
I think it was sadly, it was a cooler match. It should have been the women's match, but it wasn't. It was this one. And I feel bad for Cage too. Like, I felt for some reason this match didn't feel special. And I think they went out there and they wrestled fine. And for all the hype that they got, that they put into Cage, maybe the Cross promos have been stealing it. Maybe the Sammy Penta thing stole his heat. I don't know, but he had some great heat. Maybe he didn't, though, because they're giving him the same kind of push that they're giving Moose at the same time. But Moose is getting the title shot at the top of the ladder, and Cage is getting the X Division thing.
I think Cage is getting a Samoa Joe push.
which is fine. He's got to run with that, and he's every bit the same as Samoa Joe, where he's oversized for the division, but he can still go with the high flyers, base for them, make them look good, and do some of that kind of stuff himself on top of the power moves, just like when Joe was doing the muscle busters and whatnot. I feel like Cage is a very good version of that, minus the submission holds.
Yeah.
And that could be a problem because Cage is more into power spots and whatnot. And I don't know how that's going to play in the X division.
We've seen him in Lucha Underground with luchadors.
Yeah, but he's also got some bigger guys to go toe to toe with too, between Macias and Cobb and those guys.
And Mac and
But
how about this? I mean, like I thought, immediately I see in this match, Seidel go face to face with Cage, slap him around. Like immediately he shows that he's not physically inferior, or he's going to impose himself on this guy. Like you look at the match, Cage is going to win. Cage is going to put this kid in the hospital. And I think the story of the match wasn't trying to convince you who was going to win, or trying to find out who would win. It was how much of a fight the kid is going to put up. And I think they did a good job with that. I think there's some smaller guys like Eli Everfly has done some indie matches against Cage, and I don't think he has any business competing. Like he can job to him, but I don't think he has business. I mean, it's art, they can find a way. But I think that it's a problem when you have a guy like Cage who's that big and strong and fast and agile and can do the lucha stuff too. And then you go, well, in what category does a guy like Matt Seidel, where does he beat Cage at then?
Well, but here's the thing. What they have to do, and what everyone else in the X division has to understand, is it is like Samoa Joe, where what you're doing is you're elevating the whole division. You're making these little guys look better by being able to stand in there with a Brian Cage, and he's got to sell for him. Like, I want to see P.D. Williams hit a Canadian Destroyer on Brian Cage.
Yeah.
You want to see Seidel get in there and maybe get off a power move on Cage. Maybe, that's how you promote the division.
Seidel did great. He came close to winning, and if he hit that
and then what's going to make the division great is, okay, so now's the time to bring back one of those great gimmick X division matches. Yeah. Not immediately, maybe 2 pay-per-views from now, but have that big moment where it takes some gimmicked 4-way match with some suspended X from the sky to take the belt off of Cage. Yeah. And make Cage get in there and perform. Make him drop from the ceiling. Make him do some crazy shit. And he'll do it. He's only got a few years left of that shit himself before Vince picks him up and turns him into some, not as big, mid-card monster guy, where he'll live out the rest of his career once his knees go. So God bless Cage. Let's get those fucking 2 years out of the guy right now. Let's do it at Impact. Let's do it in Lucha Underground. Give the guy his run.
Yeah, and like you said, I think him as X Division champ really opens a lot of doors to get those people over and to do a whole lot of new things. And hopefully that match, hopefully they bring that match back. That was always fun. So they did Austin Aries promo for the Moose match. I love Austin Aries. He's a prick. I wouldn't like him in person, I'm sure, but he knows pro wrestling, and he's able to shit talk Moose and call Moose a bitch in a way where you start rooting for Moose. And I really wanted Moose to win. I know Austin's going to win, and I really want Austin to win. But Austin...
Did you really want Moose to win? I mean, I kind of didn't care. And how did we get to the title match? You skipped over a couple of things there. Right?
No. They threw this promo in real quick. They threw him, and then after the match, they threw in a Moose promo. Because they were making it a bigger deal. No, I think Austin Aries does a great job promoting the fight, promoting his opponent, and he really was selling me on Moose. So then you have the Su Yung Madison Rayne promo. I thought it was okay. I think the Su Yung stuff and the horror movie vibe that they're doing is great. And again, I love the use of vignettes. I love how they use vignettes on the show enough to where when they put these promos together, they really help color the promos. You have non-match stuff between the two wrestlers to throw in to heighten the drama and tell the story.
And I think that's so great. I like them not being the reality style promos that WWE is doing backstage. That seem to be all WWE is doing. Like, break the wall a little bit. Do it like do it cinematic style. You know, where people are seeing reflections of weird stuff and doing these vignettes with the ghostly figures dancing around and weird shit. Like, it makes it more interesting. And no one's really doing that right now.
Absolutely.
The Velveteen Dream promo.
The most recent one?
Yeah, it was like so 90s. It was amazing.
I've only saw a little bit of it on the tweet machine, but I didn't watch that episode.
Yeah, Velveteen is doing some cool stuff. Wait, sorry, my cat is getting near a bunch of cables. I'm watching you.
Was that a Mad t-shirt? That is a Mad t-shirt, you son of a bitch.
What's up, motherfucker? I got a call from Juventud. He was like, you want a Juicy shirt? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, no problem. Don't even give me your address. I'll get it to you.
Fuck you.
Yeah, no, but like Velveteen Dream is like it's like a promo. They do some weird stuff with lighting, which is cool, but it's not the show. The show isn't operating on that level. And that's something that TNA and Impact have been doing for a while, since before Lucha Underground. But also, as you'll see with some of the Sami Callihan stuff, they're also continuing that Final Impact type stuff where they're going to have fights outside of the ring, which I think is great. This Sue Young stuff, when she first, like, I thought she was great on the indies. She had a cool look and a cool sort of gimmick she had going. And I thought when she started at Impact, it was cool, but it wasn't camera ready, as in timing and like how to get the right shots. It wasn't directed, and it's gotten a lot better.
I was feeling that with the Shotzi Blackheart debut too. Like, it's the same thing. Like, I think Shotzi will be great eventually, but right now it just needs to be worked out a little bit differently for camera.
Well, in WWE, they figure that shit out before they put you on. That's why it takes so long to get some people on TV.
Well, that's why they keep you off for so long too. Impact can't really afford to do that. They're paying you to come in. They're fucking using you. Yeah.
And also with the horror movie stuff aspect of the promo, I think it's good, but I think it's still like 70 to 80% of
okay, but
what it should
did you care about the actual match?
I cared about the match, but it was okay.
Too. I'm not asking because you shouldn't have or didn't. That's the real question.
Yeah, that is the question. I mean, to me, but the thing is, I like Madison Rayne from what she was doing before. I think she's here to put Sue Young over. She's not all that exciting to me anymore. I respect what she's done. To me, this match and everything was about Sue Young honing her presentation,
well, yeah,
instead of the match.
That was the Mickie James thing too. It's like, oh, we'll bring back Mickie just to build up Asuka before we give her a real push on the big show.
Yeah, and it was
now look, it's been a year and a half later or whatever, and Mickie James, like, I can't imagine that women's division without her.
Yeah, Mickey's awesome.
Could Madison be in that department? Do you think she's that level veteran?
I don't think she was ever that level of a competitor. Well, I don't think that was her purpose. I think she contributed in a big way, but in a different way. Gail Kim was having matches with Awesome Kong, and the Beautiful People were doing their own thing that was entertaining. It was a different flavor on the show. But this is one of the dumb rough things where I loved Sue Young's entrance was better. I loved the bridesmaids, the zombie bridesmaids, and how sometimes they'd run in and interfere. And I think that was a cool thing, and it added a little bit of chaos and excitement every time.
It all just makes me want Daphne Unger back, but go ahead.
I know, but I don't think she could wrestle. I think TNA killed her.
I don't know if she could ever wrestle, but that's beside the point. I love the character.
yeah, right. She was the best in the original. So the coffin entrance was awesome. Being carried in and rising out of the coffin, that was fucking sick. And there was, great timing in how,
you love these coffin entrances. This is like the processional for grave consequences to me, where I'm just like, oh, I get it. Let's get to the fucking match.
But they're all there, and it adds a little bit of extra. But I still think that her timing isn't there for TV. Like when she did the Muda Mist, she didn't really cock the gun before she shot it, you know? Like by the time that spot was over, you didn't know what happened. And the ref is watching a bridesmaid hold Madison Rain at ringside.
But then the real question then is, if that's your criticism, then the real question is, let's figure out who is agenting the women's matches over at Impact right now.
Yeah.
Because that's who's got to step up their game.
Yeah.
They've got to inspire these young ladies to get that timing right, to learn that stuff, and to hit it spot on TV when you've only got them 3 or 4 days a month to work with.
Right. I mean, the thing is, the Mist should be a cool spot, and it's not over at all. So, you know, then why do it unless it's going to be over? And then my only other thing is her mandible claw continues to suck. The thing with the
this one was weird. It came from like the back.
Went the wrong way.
Or was that the one on Impact the next week? I don't know. Whichever one I just watched was horrifyingly bad.
No, this one.
What was that?
This one.
Match? Was that the finisher?
This was the finish. Yeah, and it was a little weird. And in it being positioned weird, they had an opportunity where it looked unique and they could have done something. But ultimately, it was just put in a way where you don't have leverage for the actual claw. And it was treated like a choke.
Right.
How is it sold like a choke?
It was bad.
Madison Rain passed out from a soft hand in her mouth.
Well, hey, look, we know some people that work at Impact, so let's just send word to whoever the agent is on this match without blowing up anybody's spot to just put some time in with the girls. We're not convinced yet. Sell us on it. We're watching. You got us watching. Keep us watching. Let's smooth out the kinks there, guys.
Stop doing the mandible claw when you can't even squeeze juice out of an orange.
Go away. The gimmick's not going to go away at this point. They're too invested in it. They just have to make the gimmick good.
Okay, make it look like it hurts. It doesn't even tickle.
Yeah. All right.
Okay,
what's the next match? Let's get off this match.
I want to know your opinion about this because you mentioned these guys too. This is another part where you see this is a veteran presence who knows psychology, who knows presentation in matches, in wrestlers, and in shows. This whole thing stands up from the rest of the show. It was fucking awesome. The promo was great. The promo was unlike any other promo on the show.
What are you talking about? The LAX versus LAX?
Yeah. I thought the whole thing was, it was like these guys are like, I don't care what show we're on. We're going to put together something awesome.
And you're talking about a show that's already had a hardcore match and you weren't thinking about with Tommy Dreamer. Yes. You weren't thinking about it at all when this match started, were you?
No.
Because they had those promos, led into it, got you into a whole new ring psychology. Doesn't matter. Could have been a complete repeat of that other match. And by the time it happened, I wasn't thinking about Eddie Edwards or Tommy Dreamer one single bit being on the same card, only 2 matches apart.
It's why Conan can burn every single bridge and then walk back over it 2 years later and get a job because he has one of the best minds in the business.
I wonder if he'll ever get over the ECW burned bridge. I don't know if that one, or not the ECW, the
WWE.
No, the Lucha Underground one.
Oh, Lucha. Oh,
he's been backstage at WWE a couple times. I don't think that he's ever going to go back there because they don't really have a need for him. But honestly, I could even see them bringing Conan back for a little bit of something if they were going to put him in the Hall of Fame one day.
Yeah,
and they might, because he is such a big part of the fact that any American wrestling promotion got Lucha Libre at all.
Yeah.
You know, which to me is still funny because Conan himself is so not a Lucha Libre style performer.
Yeah.
At all. And even in Mexico, when he was wrestling the Lucha Libre guys, he was the base. He was the strong style base guy. He was never doing what the other guys were doing. He was just there to catch and do power moves and to show off all the guys' other skills.
He was more like Taz, if there was a Lucha Taz.
Yeah. And like Steve Payne kind of is nowadays, you know?
Yeah. But I want to know what you thought of the promo about how, I mean, it was...
I've been loving the whole build up to this whole thing. The whole thing was very transparent in a lot of ways. Very old school booking. Conan likes his swerves. Felt very NWO, black and white versus red and black kind of thing. Did not matter. I mean, this is why some gimmicks never fucking die, because if you do them right, they are great. And King, amazing promos coming out of this guy right now. Like, who knew? Who would have thought that King would be cutting these kind of promos right now, where some of his stuff is outshining Conan's? Just on the mic, the master of the verbal gyms, Conan, you know? And I don't think he's got any problem with it. I think he's proud of the guy and giving him the time to shine. And finding a way that, if needed to, the genius part about this whole thing and the whole setup was Conan found a way to get himself over by making himself not relevant. He's the least relevant thing in the whole feud, and you don't feel that way. You know, he was gone for the whole middle chunk of it, which was him being taken out and King taken over and this, that, and the other thing. And then he comes back and he kind of slow rolls back into it and gets the Young Bucks back on his side or whatever. And it leads to a perfect opportunity for them to still swerve him again later and get him out of there when he's too busy at AAA or somewhere else. Like, the whole thing's brilliant.
Yeah.
And the way it translated in the ring, the in-work stuff was great. Even fucking Hernandez, God bless that guy.
Yeah, he pulled out all the tricks.
Yeah, I mean, here's a guy who's getting up there in years. He's put on a little bit of weight. His knees aren't the best they've ever been, but he knew when to do it. Like, this was the right style match for him. It was the right time. It was great TV exposure for him back on TV. And he's been showing up in AAA, and him and Conan are on good terms right now. And, you know, which hasn't always been the case, as anyone can tell you. And things are flowing for him. And this is what you have to do in the wrestling business. When you get opportunities like this, someone's putting you on a pay-per-view or somebody's putting you on TV somewhere, you have to take advantage of it. Sean Hernandez did that.
Yeah, it was great. And I appreciate, something that Chris Jericho talks about when he talks about his New Japan stuff, about how you have to be different than anything else on a card. There has to be multiple acts on a card. And so we talked about how his presentations have always been different. And so he'll do his promos in a different venue. He'll say things differently. And that way he stands out. And to me, Conan and LAX, these guys are top talents as they are, but they've always had that different presentation on the show. It makes it more exciting. Their entrances, or they have that, like, what they have, that sort of DX thing that they throw in.
Look, goes to my whole thing though, bro, of what we're talking about with Zack Sabre Jr. Like, if you met one of these guys in a dark alley and they weren't happy with you, you would be legit scared. And in fact, out of all of these guys, all of them, Hernandez is probably in real life the least intimidating of all of them. And I'm pretty sure he could still murder your shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, he's a big guy.
He's a big dude, but at the same time, he's also a teddy bear.
I can't wait to see him in November.
We should try and get him on the show.
You got to clear that with Urban. I promised I would never poach Hernandez from Urban.
Okay, well, maybe we can do it. We can interview Urban interviewing Hernandez.
Yeah, maybe Urban can come on here and interview him.
Yeah,
which would be fun, just to have Baby Nuts on the show and make fun of him to his face.
Oh, God. I also wonder if he actually tattooed up it. Sorry, Meef. I wonder if he. I'll shut up after this. If he tattooed up a Superman, or if he's just if he just knows and tells all TV shows that he's on to mark it up the same way.
That's hilarious. What were you saying, Meef?
We're here in November, so I'm hoping to grab a beer with him.
What's the show? What's he doing in November?
Oh God, I can't remember the name. It's a random company, but they've got, like, they're advertising La Parka.
Which one?
I asked them if it was. Yeah, that's the thing. So I asked them, and they were like, "Oh, the legendary." Like, I was like, going, "Yeah, but there's fucking two of them." So, like, and
they're both actually relatively legendary at this point, surprisingly.
Yeah. So
for completely different reasons.
I'm told it's Tapia. So I'm hoping it's the actual La Park.
LA Park.
Yeah. And then,
I think it probably is. I don't know that I've heard of the new LA or the new La Parca traveling international like that.
He's usually part of a package deal.
Yeah.
Like, so you have to buy the AAA guys sometimes in packages. So you like, there's options. So you buy like option 4 will be like 4 of their guys, 5 of their guys for $8,000 or whatever it is.
We don't need to blow up prices. I don't care. I don't care.
Anyway, that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting too to get Hernandez out there. All right, Byron. LAX
Next
was
match.
great.
Yes, that's one of the best spots. Probably the best whole act on the show.
You think so?
Yeah, top to bottom.
What's next?
Next is Pentagon Jr. and Sammy Hair versus Mask, which we know.
I think that was the best match on the show. You've seen it though.
You saw it in Chicago.
I know. What was that? AAW?
Yeah.
No.
You know, it's great. They do the things. You know, it's awesome. But I wasn't as invested in it. Like, the result.
You weren't as invested in it, but
I wasn't.
I think a lot of Impact fans and like putting it on a slightly bigger stage. It'd be like if this match went to WWE, you know, do you shit on it because you've already seen it before, or do you praise it because it's the next bigger company doing what you love the right way?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, it's like AJ and Samoa Joe wrestling in WWE. You know, like, oh, we've seen him. I get it, and it's still awesome. If they did
the better version of it, but see, the problem with WWE is they would do it and then not do the better version of it.
Right.
This was Impact doing it, and I feel like it was slightly better than the original version. I think that Penta and Sammy know each other better, and the spikes sequence, the sequence with the spikes, come on.
Yeah, that was rad.
Come on.
That was good.
That was real good. And that's new.
I think there was just a lot of good stuff on the card overall, you know. But I think one thing I will say about Pentagon Jr. is that, especially with the live crowd and his promos, they're not doing I love the Lucha Underground promos, but if you're not going to do a Lucha Underground promo for Pentagon, how Impact is doing it is the way you fucking do it. And he is a big time star there. They treat him like that. He gets received like that. The way they modulate his voice.
Yeah, modulate his voice. Let him do it backstage. Let him take his time. Let him make him throw in a little bit of English, which Lucha Underground even did this past season.
You just close up on his scary fucking face.
Yeah. Yeah. Smart. What were you trying to say before, Meef?
Not to be rude to anybody, you know, Impact fans or anything like that, but even though obviously we know it happened in AEW, a lot of them didn't. You know what I mean? They wouldn't have seen that match. They know they've wrestled somewhere before. I mean, everybody's always wrestled somewhere before with each other, really, nowadays. So, whilst it had been done before, there's most of the fans who were there were like so anticipating it and being ramped up for it because it was something new for them.
And it's what these guys have been working on for a long time. You know, Lucha Underground never really got to do the Sammy Penta thing. And I think they're a good match for each other. And it's a good place to put Penta right now, too, to take that steam from having held the belt off. Like, he had to go and do something great. Like, if he went into a new feud with, like, Eli Drake or, you know, Grado or somebody, would that fucking make any sense? Like, it had to be something big to pull Sammy out of the Eddie Edwards thing and Penta out of the Austin Aries feud. And
it's a good showcase.
Yeah, it was a great showcase. It gave them an easy month of work where they knew what they were leading to. And they also didn't take the easy route, which I feel like they added new dynamics and new psychology and new elements to the actual performance in the ring.
Let me ask you this. You know that classic spot? I'm going to blow the names because I should have been asleep 2 hours ago, but it's like Takayama, I think. And I forget his name, but it's a classic spot where they grab the back of the head. It's a hockey fight. You just pound each other, right?
Oh yeah.
And these two guys, and Sammy and KO have done this, and Pentagon and Sammy did this spot with spikes.
It was great.
Awesome.
If Casey was here right now, he'd be reminding everyone that we knew Pentagon was going to bleed when he came to the ring in a white mask.
Oh yeah. He bled through it, I think.
But I mean, the blade jobs were perfect. Impact played it perfectly. It was the right amount of blood too, where they didn't fucking bleed out all over the whole ring. But they did the spike bits, and the spike bits was amazing. And then my favorite part of the whole night was when Penta takes the bat or the cane or whatever, and he's gonna bang the spike, because they're real spikes, by the way. That's part of this gimmick too. Is they're real spikes. They're always up in the hand. You know, they're doing this job where none of the spikes coming out.
Or in the mask
instead of
in
this.
Penta's case, you can put it in the...
Right. So, but they're real spikes. You could hear the metal clanging. That's part of the gag. But Penta goes to hit the one into Sammy's head, straight up misses, and hits him in the head. I'm just thinking to myself, that is fucking karma right there. That's the payoff. That's the moment that Sammy has deserved for the last 4 months. And then Penta redoes it and actually hits it, and you hear the ting or whatever from the metal.
He just made $20 from Eddie doing that.
Oh, somebody! I guarantee all the boys were in the back, like laughing, and fucking Eddie's probably back there high-fiving everybody. You know, slip Penta some money. But anyway, that was a very funny spot, and the finish was great. You know, that they actually, for a moment, even though I already knew the result. Oh, when Penta didn't get the cover after that one finish, I was actually like, oh my God, Penta's going to lose this thing. Like, they actually, for a moment, had that going for them too. And then, of course, it was like, oh, wait, no, that can't happen. Triple Mania and this, that, and the other thing. He's never going to lose his mask here.
He's losing at Triple Mania, so it's okay.
Yeah, he's not.
He's never going to lose it. There's no amount of money for him to be worth to not sell a mask.
I don't know. He could do it, but he'd have to rebuild a whole lot. It'd be pretty stupid for him to give up the gimmick right now. Anyway, yeah, I thought that was the best match on the card. I thought LAX was definitely second place. I thought the opener was third place, though when I watched the opener, I thought it was going to be the best match on the card. I thought the first women's match was a little worse than the second one, believe it or not. And that's just Allie being a little green, and the fact that there wasn't very much heat on it. The heat was really just Tessa's existence.
Yeah.
Her very existence is very
very heatful. And then there's Moose. Now, see, this is funny because
Meef. Ready? Moose.
I mean, he's just
Moose.
He's a reverse fist. He likes to pull it out. He likes to cock it and shove it in there. Moose likes to kind of like slowly go in there.
He's the reverse Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is doing the whole sleeve thing.
Yeah.
And then Moose is doing the take it out. Okay, I got you. I get it.
The forearm. I think Moose has probably got a bigger forearm, so when he pulls it out, it gives a bit more pleasure.
No, this whole thing is probably the most brilliant thing you've ever said on this show. I'm just going to go with that.
So here's the thing about refs. So back in the Su Yung match, the bridesmaids were literally like holding Madison Rayne, and the ref is staring at them, not doing a thing. And then there's a mist then Su Yung mists, and the ref doesn't even react. Like, no, it's okay. It's not on the competitor. There's nothing. He just looks like dumb. Like he doesn't like he was a fan who lost his way to his seat, and now he's in the ring. In this match, there's a spot where Moose picks Austin Aries up in a double choke and lifts him up, which is a classic move. You're grabbing the guy by the neck. The ref just looks at him.
No, you're supposed to give him a 5 count.
No 5 count, just looks at him.
Fired. As soon as he goes up by the neck, you're supposed to go, 1, come on, let him go. 2, bring him down, bring him down. 3.
Well, some people say you need to give them a pause before you start so the audience can see what's happening, and then you start the count. So then the audience registers and then gets offended.
No, so and to give them the pause, what you do is you go over to the bell guy, the official at the side, and you go, no, don't ring the bell, don't ring the bell. Then you go over and you count.
Yeah, you do stuff.
Maybe.
It's ring psychology. Get with it.
But so why are the TNA reps not? Go ahead, Meef. Sorry,
stole the last croissant in catering, and that ref was like, "Fuck this guy. Let him."
I love Meef's ideas about things.
Meef has a whole new level of ring psychology.
Yeah, I don't. Why is this happening with the refs in Impact? Is this a training thing? Is this green? Is this somebody in the back not knowing what the ref's job is, so they're not telling them?
I mean, who's the senior official there? Who's running?
I don't know who any of those guys are. I'm sure.
Yeah, let's find out. Let's have a talk with a senior ref and ask. I mean, it's a thing. Like in New Japan, they have their own struggles with refs in their officiating. They got to work on their thing too, because everything is kind of like a no holds barred match.
I mean, I find most of the WWE refs dreadfully boring these days, but they're not ill-equipped to do the job. You know what I mean? And obviously, I think the Lucha Underground refs are great. I don't know the name of the guy they're bringing in now to replace Knox. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Knox was injured in real life during this last episode, so I don't think
it was one of the last ones.
Actually, you'll see him still. He still comes and does some ringside reffing, even with the cast on. So he'll be in a couple more episodes, but I don't think he's ever zebraed up the rest of the season.
Oh, you know what happened? One of the matches on this past week was from a different taping.
Yes, sir.
Before he broke his collarbone.
Correct. He broke it the same day. But the first match this week was not taped, which is witnessed by the fact that you and I are there for the first match this week.
Yes.
And me and my friend Casey Kriebel are sitting next to each other in the Believers bleachers for the rest of the episode.
Yes.
So, is...
And Jim and his now ex-lady friend.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, because Jim was not at the second taping either, but he was at the first one, and which is amazing. The episode, he's only there for one match. He gets more camera time in this episode than I think he's ever gotten before.
Yeah, but Jim works out every day, so you put him on camera.
Next to him had a great MMMshow shirt on, and we got lots of camera time for our MMMshow shirt.
We should make a pile of MMMshow shirts that are never to be worn again. We'll give them one last smell of good memories.
No. The funny thing about that shirt is...
And then we'll burn them.
Jim wears that shirt, too. That girl is like half his size. That was Jim's MMMshow shirt, his original one. And he still wears it. Because he can wear a small. I hate Jim. I hate him. Sorry.
I don't think I wore small when I was like 12.
How can Jim wear smalls when he's so buff? He works out every day. Have you seen those guns?
He pours the shirt on
so
that
3'11".
Just clings to the muscles.
He's 3'11" in stilts. That's what it is. He's actually like just tiny.
We have almost the same frame.
Maybe Jim wears a corset. He likes Rocky Horror.
Maybe that's the other thing about it too. Is like I like a shirt that fits a little bit, but I do not want something like pulling at my skin. Like, I don't want to feel like I poured my shirt on. I want to be relaxed and comfortable in my shirt.
Yeah.
A little bit form-fitting is fine.
Everything has to be 2 sizes too big.
Fuck, yeah. I mean, go through my closet. Even, like, look at my Vampiro shirt and my Cure t-shirts and shit that are in there. They're all, like, XLs, and I've never been an XL. Okay, I was an XL for a little while, but we won't talk about that.
I wear XLs. Because I power lift, the muscles have to go somewhere.
All right, back to what we were talking about, the Moose thing.
Yeah.
I was really behind it when they started this whole thing, and by the end of it, I don't think I was really feeling it. I don't know. Especially after the LAX match and the Penta Sammy matches were so good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was just kind of ready for the pay-per-view to be over, to tell you the truth. And I didn't feel like Moose was going to win. I didn't feel like I had as much invested in him as I did a few weeks back. I still think he's a cool character. I still think he's definitely going somewhere. But for some reason, for his big title match, it just didn't feel big enough to me.
He's not at that level for sure. And I read, I
He's
think
also-
somewhere he got a concussion, which injuries are unfortunate, but having a pause from TV without, getting his program interrupted might be a good thing for him. Concussions are horrible. I don't want him to have an injury, but I also don't think that he is at the level
The worst
to
thing.
to do a world championship match. Like, he's over and it's great, but he should be kept at that level where people want more from him. And this is one where I thought I was getting into him, and Austin Aries was getting me into him, and I was happy to see Moose do some cool stuff like the corner drop kicks, but also there was a point where Austin Aries Death Valley drivered him on the apron, and Moose barely sold a 4 count before he was about to walk back in the ring, and he didn't even grab his neck once for the rest of the match.
Yeah. It's
Does he
great.
suffer from O'Neill's?
And those are the details. And you watch the whole LAX thing, which is full of veterans, full of Conan, masterfully crafting every little detail precisely. They know everything. They do it fucking great. The Tommy Dreamer thing, they do it fucking great. Penta and Sammy, they're rookies compared to Conan and Tommy Dreamer, but they've been around the fucking game a lot, and they do what they do really fucking great too. And then you have Moose trying to keep up with Austin Aries, and you see the difference.
It felt a little bit like GFW Impact from late last year. It didn't feel like it was
I don't
at
watch
the
any of
level
that.
where everything right. But that's the point. There's a reason why you didn't watch it. Like post Hardys, pre this new era, whatever you want to call it, the past Anthem era now.
Fuck that owl.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was during the Fuck That Owl stage.
Yeah.
And this felt like Fuck That Owl Impact to me. And it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad at all. Don't get me wrong. I'm not shitting on it in the fact that say it was bad. It didn't feel like the headliner match that I wanted it to feel like, and it didn't feel like it had the right level of importance for Moose.
Yeah.
And now what for Aries? I mean, how long
Eddie Edwards?
I know, but are they going to put it on Eddie?
But I mean, I'm excited to see that, and I'm excited that they kept those details they used to keep Eddie heel for that. But yeah, it's a thing where you want Austin Aries as a top talent, and it's like the old thing between like two tap dancers. So one guy tap dances and then goes, "All right, show me what you got," and you do your thing. Show me what you got, and they try to one up each other, and you're not getting that in any Austin Aries matchups where he's going to bring his shit into the match, and the other guys can be like, "That's cool, but here's some other awesome shit." And like,
you got a little bit of that with the build up with Penta.
Yeah,
like between the three-way match and then their individual matches. I think it actually played out pretty good, and you got that. And here's the thing. If Austin's your guy and you're going to leave the belt on him for a while, Eddie probably is the right guy because he could use the rub without getting the belt. But then eventually you got to find something for Austin where we believe what's going to happen next. Like, and if he drops to Eddie, I'm going to say right now that's a bad call.
Horrible. Yeah. Austin is
because the only thing you can do is if he drops to Eddie, Eddie's got to drop to someone else or right back to it. Eddie can't hold the belt for any period of time. That won't do the company any good.
No, he's still working on who he is and still earning his on getting over.
Maybe it's Johnny Impact that works his way up there. I don't think they should put it back on Penta as much as I don't think they should have taken it off him as quickly as they should have. He's out of that picture now and can do big business outside of having the title. So don't put it back on him. Cage is the whole building the X Division thing, so he's not really an option right now.
I think you got to figure out
Eli Drake would be a good option, but they've been down that road. Yeah, it's the same note. Right. So they really got to figure that out. Like I think Mundo or Impact, whatever, is probably the best option right now.
I think it's him or Phoenix.
It's not going to be Phoenix though. That note's going to look too much. It should be, but it's going to look too much like the Pentagon note. It can't be Phoenix right now.
They got
to. They need to give him a story.
If you ask me, Phoenix, yeah, in the ring, Phoenix is probably the best, one of the best going right now. And I think he could be the champ. But yeah, he doesn't cut the promos. He doesn't have the story, and I think you got to find that. In Impact, you got to find that somehow.
Promos.
What's that?
He cuts really good promos when he does his AAW stuff, but they just need to get him an actual storyline, like some form of meaning. You need to invest, like you said before, getting back to Zack Sabre Jr., something to believe in.
Yeah, but I think with Phoenix and Penta, what they should do now is maybe even put the tag straps on them. Maybe have them go toe-to-toe with young LAX. Let them be the Lucha Brothers. They did acknowledge that a little bit towards the end of the feud. Like, they could start off with the Chris Brothers and then work their way into the tag division and then feud with LAX. I mean, because the tag division ain't got shit right now either.
Yeah. Well, then to your point, Mundo, Johnny Impact, he's a guy who Austin Aries would have to work up to keep up within a match, I would think.
Yeah, I think they'd be fire too. I mean, they're both, former WWE cruiserweights, basically.
Yeah, but also Survivor's going to come out.
In the WWE world, those guys are considered fucking mid-card cruiserweight guys, and then outside of there, they're fucking top guys. But whatever.
I think.
I mean, Cross could work into the title picture too, but I wouldn't put him there.
No, too early, too soon.
That's like an end game.
And look, not that he needs it, but I think they're doing a brilliant job of protecting that character so far, too. I mean, they do a promo. He's only had the 2 matches, but they're building up his highlight reel with it. The Saito Slam, fucking phenomenal in his debut match. I mean, that'll be his highlight package at Impact for the next 4 years.
Yeah, but with the guy like Cross, because they're building him up, that they're introducing him from scratch. But you got to be careful, because in my opinion, on a new character, you don't want to give them the belt until people have wanted that person to have the belt for a while.
Right. But I mean, with his heel character too, it would depend on who he was across from, because there could be lots of reasons to make him the guy that someone else has to chase to get the belt.
That's true.
That's really a good spot for him and a good look for him, is for him to be the obstacle more than the champion of the people in any kind of way. As much as he's done that gimmick other places, I don't think in Impact he should be. I think it should be straight heel the whole time.
Oh yeah.
I think it'd be interesting if Johnny Impact went full babyface, which I think that's very easy for him to do with his style. And he carried the belt through Survivor, which I think would be the smart thing to do, marketing your brand. And then when that's over, or in the middle of that, you give him a blood feud with Cross, which you can reference some AAA. And if he's baby, then Cross could be a pure heel, and they've worked together. They know each other. And that would be a good program, I think, where they both would be comfortable in delivering. And then maybe Mundo can chase back.
Yeah.
If I were to fantasy book.
It could work. No, it could work. Well, I mean, look, Mundo's... Go ahead, Meef.
That'll be the thing. Because Moose is the guy they're putting forward as their top little... Because he's like I said, Titus O'Neil. He's the good guy. So I think that's who they want as their big face. So that'd be the... And to be honest with you, in terms of body size at least, Cross versus him could be better.
Yeah. I could see Cross and Moose kind of doing a program together. I mean, the Moose can't keep doing the program with Aries, though.
Yeah. I mean, I think Moose needs the program with Aries in that he needs Aries to go out there and tell people why they should invest themselves.
Yeah, but somebody else has to do it now. I mean, now Aries has done it. Aries did his bit on it, and I think Cross could do a decent job with it. Drake obviously could do a decent job with it, and that's about it. I mean, those are your guys that are going to play the heel role and be able to put somebody over like that in that company.
I don't think, but I mean, Drake, sure. At some point, Drake is going to need a run on top, I think, or else you're just not you're gonna get used to not seeing him in that position. I don't think Cross should be doing programs to put other people over for a while in Impact.
No.
Maybe not.
Like if he's with Moose,
I'm just saying he
should
could actually do it. He's got the promo skills where he knows how to give the other guy the rub by saying mean things about him and how much he's going to bury him, but still making it sound like it's a difficult task to do it. You know?
Yeah, but if I were to see Moose and Cross in a ring with Cross's trajectory, I think they're on different trajectories, and I think if you're going by what Cross needs, if he's going to meet Moose, then he should squash him and make him look like shit.
Maybe, which is tough.
I'd have him squash him soonish. But
so I wouldn't put those two together for a while, and they could be money down the road.
Do it now so that they can build back around to it and come back around to something later and have a little bit of history.
Yeah.
Or you stay away from it altogether.
Well, Moose has a concussion. So.
Hey, at least they have, they've got options, and it'll be interesting to see. And look, this is absolutely the most we have ever talked about Impact on this show ever.
I know, it's great. My wrestling habits, kudos to Impact. My wrestling habits are more New Japan and Lucha and Impact. I barely even keep up with NXT now.
Yeah, I mean, Impact is getting the exposure and time on this show that normally WWE would have gotten. We're not even talking about 2K19.
Who gives a fuck? Fire Pro's coming out on PlayStation soon. You should get that.
Yeah, this show 2 years ago, that would have been a different story. But this is how WWE has burned people from video games to, I mean, that Extreme Rules pay-per-view. I'm not even going to talk about it.
Just a name.
I mean, it wasn't even a name. It was like not even for a standard run-of-the-mill WWE was it any good.
It was just such a bad show. The show itself ruined the good matches. Like I heard an Iron Man match, it was a good match, but they killed the crowd so much the crowd was fucking around and doing countdowns for every minute just because they were already pissed off at the whole show.
Hey, did we do Rest in Peace Big Cass during our Rest in Peace segment?
Who's that?
His whole fucking career is fucking done now. How did that happen?
You know how it happened? He's 100% responsible. He sucked as a wrestler. Like he had bad technique. He was always going to be blowing out his knees. He was always way more out of shape than he had any right to be with the resources he has for dietitians.
He was the one that people liked in the back, and Enzo was the one that everyone was shitting on.
They didn't like him either.
Wow, both of those guys.
They're two shit human beings put together.
Oh my god.
He got fired
and they're such shit human beings that they don't even get along enough to go out on the fucking indies and make money together. Because if they fucking got together and went out on the indies, they would fucking crush it. They would make some money.
Indies are very forgiving, but they'd also have to not be shitty people. Like Enzo would have to have been someone who was accused of sexual assault and then let off due to lack of evidence, because of what usually happens is you don't have cameras monitoring every single second of every single thing you do. And then he goes in, instead of like trying to be a good guy about the whole thing, he goes and develops underwear that say consent on them. He sells underwear with the word consent because he's a rapist.
It's funny.
Allegedly.
I mean, it's not good, but it's funny. It's funny that he has the gall and nerve as a human being to stoop that low.
It's just
he'll end up getting killed by somebody.
Maybe he's just
he thinks he's a little gangster. He's gonna start giving it all this mouth, and then someone's just gonna go, you know what? Bang. Fucking blow his brains out. And then
he's just dumb.
A bag of shit.
At the Simon Grimm was like putting it. You have to go look up his thing about what he said about Enzo. But he was like best case scenario versus worst case scenario, and they're both really shitty.
I like Simon Gotch. He was cool. I met him when he wrestled Cross at Maverick at MavPro, and I never really thought much about him one way or the other, but he's actually a really good wrestler and a pretty funny guy.
Yeah.
By killing Enzo in the ring, make it look like an accident.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, he was throwing him out of a ring, and you don't throw someone out of the ring. You control your own bump out of the ring.
Right.
So who hurt who?
Stupid.
No, to be fair, the way he threw him was pretty bad.
The answer is both of them.
I would have done it. You know, when you look back and think, I'm going, yeah, actually, I would have thrown him a bit harder. Make sure you fucking decapitate him.
I can't wait to see where this whole facial hair thing goes for me.
Oh, away. That's the way it'll go.
Oh, you're gonna shave this off? I want to see the whole like bit. Little John Waters.
It doesn't grow in the middle, and I get this bit. I get a soul patch.
Yeah.
So I end up most of the time looking like a Mexican drug lord.
Oh my God! You should do this. You should absolutely do this.
Let's do a vote on MMM Twitter. And basically, the vote will go until like Tuesday or whatever it does, and then we'll find out if Meef gets to shave before the next show.
Yeah, Meef's got to go to work before then too. I don't know if it's going to last that long. Hey, for Mr. Krabs, you're asking about my Cleveland Cavs and LeBron to bang. I got
Justin
my
helped him move in.
I got my ring, so I don't care. LeBron can go wherever he wants now. And I live in Los Angeles now, so he's not leaving me. He's actually coming to me. I may, in fact, have more of an opportunity to see him now in that he is playing in my time zone. So I will not be burning any jerseys. I have absolutely no problem with LeBron leaving the Cleveland Cavaliers, and thank him for the fact that he brought my city one of its championships. Thanks to Stipe, who's no longer a champion, who also brought Cleveland. That was a tough week for Cleveland, man. That was just a hard week. LeBron left, Stipe lost his belt, like all in the same week. I'm pretty sure everyone in the entire city is unemployed now. I think that's just how it goes. But part of why I moved. Love my home city. Much love to everybody back there. But stop counting on one guy for your fucking livelihood and your jobs. Yeah. So anyway, got my ring. Thanks, LeBron. Come on out to LA. Get me another one, brother. Anyway, I'm done. I got nothing else to say, and anything I can say, I will say next time. Hopefully, to Casey, happy birthday, brother. I'm glad you are enjoying yourself with the otters. Is that real? Did I just see it?
He loves otters. He loves otters.
He's petting fucking otters instead of coming to work.
He's molesting otters. Get that on a t-shirt.
No, it was fine when he wanted to show off for his birthday. I was like, that's fine. I get that, but he didn't tell me it was to pet otters. I don't know. I don't know if I'm down with that.
Jim came on the show and he was in the middle of losing a beer pong game.
But Jim was practicing for the actual beer pong tournament.
Yeah.
I like this shirt. You know what this shirt says to me, Byron?
What?
It says, I could take Zack Sabre Jr. in a fist fight.
Well, we're going to find some matches for you to watch. He had some really good matches. And that's another thing that he's specifically improved upon. He's done character work, and I just love when he calls people dickheads and flips them off, but also in making his stuff more believable and doing his submission holds where he doesn't sit in them too long. He's making his style a little bit more believable. And I think that him pairing up with Minoru Suzuki, one, adds some legitimacy, but two, I think he's learning some stuff from him.
Well, that's true. I'll give you that. So, but we'll see. Here's the thing, Byron. You can prove it to me one of two ways. I can watch these matches and I can change my mind based on the merit of my personal entertainment value in watching Zack Sabre Jr. as a professional wrestler.
I want to get to the next part really quick.
That is the criteria. And then the other way that you could convince me is that you could send Zack Sabre Jr. to my house and actually kick my ass. Or attempt because I'm pretty sure I'll put him in the fucking ground.
Well, I was hoping that you would say that because I'm kidding.
He's on his way.
I wanted to follow him. I've already been
Live.
talking to Zach
You can-
about coming to your house. He should be in Tarzana pretty soon.
Look,
He's in an Uber.
it would never scare me. I would go downstairs, open the door, give him his choice of weapon. I wouldn't even use there's so nothing about that guy that intimidates or frightens me in any fashion. He doesn't seem psycho enough to snap on a fool. He doesn't seem tough enough to grit one out on me. He doesn't seem skilled enough outside of his twisty, unrealistic holds that could never work in real life. He doesn't seem like he's got the stand-up or striking skills. He's about the same height and size as me, so I'm pretty sure the reach advantage would do nothing for him. There's just nothing about the character of Zack Sabre Jr. that says he could fucking beat somebody up. Me or anyone else. I don't even think he could beat you up, Byron.
No, I'm a tough guy, though, so that
No,
makes
you're
sense.
not a tough guy at all. You're a fucking pansy, but you're kind of big. I think you could out-muscle him, and I think you got more heart than he probably does in a real fight.
I have a lot of heart.
That stupid,
Muscle.
what's that game you guys play with?
Byron's got fight or flight.
The figure
Byron's got a lot of
skating.
fight or flight.
Yeah, he does. He's got some natural built-in adrenaline. What's
play
the
hockey.
game that you play with the figure skaters?
I play hockey, dude.
That thing. Yeah. So I mean,
It's like if you have coordination, then you would play hockey. But if you don't, then you
hockey,
just
that's
stick
the
to
one
basketball.
where you have the big stone and you slide it across the ice and bump the other stones out of the way.
It's like hockey.
That's the one where
It's
you
like basketball
sweep
players who are
the
good
ice.
athletes would play hockey.
Yeah, no, the one with the sweeping and the brooms.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
not curling.
you shout things in really weird languages.
Yeah.
And then they
Whoops!
yeah.
Whoops!
How many basketball players have sat out for a hangnail? Answer me that. By the way, I think LeBron was one of them.
Yeah, LeBron's a pretty tough guy,
Hangnail's
though,
a bad
man.
But he still
Hangnails
sat
are
out
killers.
for a hangnail. Hockey players will play with broken ribs,
Hey,
broken feet,
you can
broken hands.
You get staph
They'll play
infection.
with 16
sepsis,
stitches in their face. They'll play before they get the stitches.
How do
but
they get the spin on the big stone, though, if they've got like broken ribs?
hockey players are some of the most humble and toughest athletes
Brain
in
dead.
the world.
And for anyone out there who's listening, don't think by any stretch of the imagination that I'm insulting curling. I actually happen to love curling. It's hockey that sucks.
Curling's amazing.
Curling is amazing. It's hockey that sucks a dick.
First of all, Meatloaf doesn't even
Hockey
know
and
what
hockey.
hockey is over in England.
Yeah, hockey's played on a fucking grass field.
Where's the hockey rink in your fucking cow fields?
No,
It's called football, and they play it with a
Oh,
black and
you
white.
call everything football.
no,
We call
'cause
this
it's played with a
breakfast
fucking
football.
foot.
This
Exactly.
football
It's
comes
played with a
sunny side up.
So it's football. Not played with
Look,
hands.
look,
and stuff for
Meatloaf.
3
I'm
seconds.
sure hockey is played with a hawk too.
Yeah.
Meatloaf is being a right cunt right now.
Oh, all
That's
right.
what I aim to do.
That's all I've got. You guys got anything else?
No, I have to go to work. in
Phantasma's in
5
mad.
minutes. Who gives
was-
a fuck?
It was nice to have
Phantasma's going mad.
Vinnie Massaro resurrected from the grave to contact us from the other side. That was nice of him to use his little other side points or Ouija board or however it was that he got here. Thanks to Casey for not being here. We would greatly appreciate it. Meef and Ron
Addition by subtraction.
and their epic beer pong battle that was going on in the middle of the intro all of a sudden. Thanks to Byron. Thanks to Meatloaf. Thanks to everybody who's listening out there, and especially to everybody who bought an MMMshow 100 t-shirt.
Thank you. Can I add
Until
one more
next-
thing?
Yeah, go
I wanna add
ahead.
one more thing. DIY Network, April 11th. Meef is doing a cock shower. Please watch the Vanilla Ice Project. New episode, season 8. Also, you might see the Headbangers on one episode. Bye.
All right.
At Byron Fever.
You got anything you want to plug, Meatloaf? Since apparently that's what we're doing.
Besides the cows in the field.
My schedule should be getting easier, but next weekend is a maybe right now because I do have to go on the road with my new show, which I'll talk about eventually, but I can't right now. Anyway, so keep your fingers crossed because Casey was available the last 2 weeks and none of the rest of us were. And Casey had all sorts of stuff he wanted to talk about. Just imagine that between 100 and 101, there was actually a great episode in there somewhere of all Casey. And but also
we
be
should do that.
very happy that Casey's not on the Sunny Kiss episode, is he?
No.
No.
Once again, our highest rated episode, and Casey is not there. I love it. I love how this keeps happening.
We should have Casey do an episode that's just him. It's not live. He's just recording on his phone. So it only lasts as long as his arm doesn't get tired.
Yeah.
And then he uploads it.
Well, Casey's the best too, because he always says he wants to do a shorter show, and then he's always the one that finds more shit to talk about when we do these things. Anyway, that's all I got. So for me, Byron, Jim,
stay cool and stay in the mix.
Nope.
That's it.
That wasn't it.
That's me if you try it.
Wasn't it?
Stay calm and stay in the mix.
You messed it up.
That was right. Stay calm and stay in the mix.